What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
What's up? Let me start. Let me see if I can start Facebook. Hold on. We went out to it's called Tiebreakers. It's kind of like Dave and Buster's or something, right? Yeah. We went to that and let the kids play and do their thing. It was all right. It's got like a bowling alley, a restaurant, and an arcade. I guess it's kind of like that. We don't have Dave and Buster's here. The last Dave and Buster's I went to was like in Atlanta, maybe. We don't have anyone anywhere near here. Maybe Knoxville. Is there a Dave and Buster's in Knoxville? Tiebreakers is cool, though. Oh, yeah, I forgot you live in Johnson City. Is Tiebreakers like a chain? Do they have them in other places, or is that just like a local thing? I hate how long there's always a stupid wait for the restaurant, like an insane wait for the restaurant, but the rest of the Tiebreakers is all right. Hold on just a second. All right, I think I got the Facebook part done. Bort's still trying to lull his audience into donating to him. It's fucking wild, but whatever. Here we go.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that.
I don't know if you saw your uncle there, but some guy kept coming by and touching my ass when I was looking. It was weird.
I hope you have a good show.
Same dude each time.
Enjoy it as you can. There's a
Thought I was
lot of
gonna get a
weird things
fight.
that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
It's not even Bortvember. That's right. Welcome, everybody. I am Will Bard. This is the Culprit Confessional. Thank you for joining us. I did not. I text Mariah and I was like, I keep going by. Like, it seems like every 30 minutes I just see Nick randomly, and I keep going by and lightly grazing his ass. And every time he jumps around like he forgot I existed. like he thinks he's a new guy every time. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Will Bard, Culprit Confessional. Shout out to the new people. Thank you for joining us. I did not win the auction. I went to the I think tiebreakers standalone. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think I've ever seen one before. I went to the auction. The piece of land. Okay, so it was a piece of land, which actually the listing was confused. It wasn't an acre. It was more like, I don't know, 6/10, 7/10 of an acre, somewhere around there, with a right of way. Because the confusion part about the parcel they had listed actually had the right of way built in. It wasn't like it was like part of the land. Well, then comes out that this front part of the land is not included. It's actually a different piece. But it has a permanent, they call it non-exempt right-of-way. So, like, whoever buys the land gets the right-of-way, right? And they can't take it away from you. It had a single-wide trailer on it that was pretty run down. I'm sure some people would put a renter in it, but it needed to be completely remodeled. So that had no value to me whatsoever. I just wanted the piece of land. But the lady a very wealthy lady, way, somebody runs her up at least, but way overpays, in my opinion, for this piece of land. And then she comes up with some story like, I told my dad on his deathbed that I would reunite our family plot or some shit. So then I start looking it up, and she owns the house on the right of this piece of land. And then across the road on the left, they got like 100 and some acres is like their farm or some shit. So she paid like 3 or 4 times what the land was worth. That's who won the auction. But luckily there was somebody else there that was sort of vested in the land, and they ran it up too. So that she didn't get it for like just what everybody else was. But basically those two did all the bidding. I was in it for a minute and then I wasn't. Everybody else got it, so didn't win. And also, I've been to these auctions before. It's usually like with a house or something, or it's out of my price range, but I still like to go and see what it's like. Like, this is the first one I've been to. And usually, I don't think I've ever seen more than like 6 people there. There was like 50-some people there. Like, it was fucking insane how many people were there. They ran out of little fucking paddles and had to start just writing numbers on paper. I've never seen that many people there, and I don't know why. Like, the weather was bad. This wasn't like some crazy fucking good deal. It wasn't like in some like area where everybody would want it. It was just weird that there were so many people there. The normal people were there, and then there was like a shit ton of other people. I'm not a normal person either, but I've been to more than just one. The guy that has been our circuit court clerk or whatever said he's never seen that many people there ever at an auction. It was just, I don't know. Nothing was good about the auction. This one was different though. Typically what happens is you got to be careful getting too good of a deal. Okay. Let's say that you, how do I explain this? Let's say that you find a plot of land. This auction was different. This wasn't the same. This might help you if you ever go to a land auction. This is not like a tax, like selling off for taxes, right? They do that as well. Let's say that you find a plot of land and it's valued at, I don't know. That's way too big. That's the same size. So that didn't help any, did it? Let's say you find a plot of land and you think that in the current market with comparables or whatever, it's worth $100K, $100,000, okay? But it's up for auction for whatever reason. And you need to make sure that taxes are paid and they don't owe taxes on. You might end up owing the taxes at the end of this, just so you know. So you need to know what the property appraised for and what it might owe taxes, or find out if the taxes have been paid on it. But at this auction I went to, and usually they'll take proceeds. This is what this auction did. Proceeds from the sale, we're going to pay the 24 25, and 26 taxes, and they told us that would bring it current. So make sure you look out for taxes on the land, first of all. All right, so this $100,000 piece of land that you want goes to auction. And let's say for some reason there's not many people there. Everybody knows it's worth $100,000. Let's say you're the only person there, and they start the bidding at $20K, $20,000, and you win it. So you are the winner, me. This $20,000 that you bid gets published. That this piece of land was sold for $20,000. And I don't know if it works like this in other places, in other states, but in Tennessee, if this auction that I went to wasn't like this, it was a final sale on the day of. But most of the time, this $100,000 piece of land that you pay $20,000, this gets published in the paper and in documents at the courthouse that anybody can look up, tax documents, statements, and it gets put on the docket for the local court because the court has to come out and say, hey, this land was put up for auction. It went through a true auction. There were, it was represented fairly, and this person won it. So there's a document that goes out that this is put on the docket for the court, usually within like 30 days. If someone sees this and says they paid $20,000 for the land, they have 10 days. 10 days from the date of the auction, right, whatever that was, to go in and up this bid. So you're there the day of the auction. You're the only person that shows up. You fucking bid. Fucking gavel goes out. Auction's over. No more. They have 10 days, and someone could come in and say, well, I want to put in $21K. And you're no longer the winner. And I don't even think they fucking notify you. Like, you got to stay on top of it for the next 10 days. And if anybody raises the bid on you, and you still want the land, you got to go. Or maybe they come in and say, it's worth $100,000. I'll raise it to 80, right? So this amazing good deal you got, they're just like, fuck you. And there are people that do this, that do not go to auctions. They just sit back and they have people inside courthouses and shit, right? They have people inside courthouses and shit that tell them, hey, this is a fucking screaming deal. You should come down here. You should it appraised for, $120,000. Somebody got it for $35,000. You should come down here and check this out. And they will, and they'll just go and bid on it. The auction I went to today was not like that. It was actually agreed to be final on the courthouse steps, whatever the price was. It was selling. There would be no raising the bid for the next 10 days. And it was already on the docket to be read. I think they said February, March 2nd, February 28th, somewhere at the end of February. It was already set to be read. But 10 days is crazy. I don't know why. I don't know why that exists, but it does exist. And I've heard people getting screwed out of it. The 10-day rule or whatever. Tennessee's not a Commonwealth. It's Commonwealths are Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, maybe. Kentucky, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Is it Massachusetts the other Commonwealth? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know why the 10-day rule exists, but if you ever go to an auction, first of all, make sure there's not any back taxes on it. You can do that at the property assessor's office. A lot of times you can just call and say, hey, they'll know. I live in a small county, so if I call, they're like, oh, you're talking about that land that's going up for auction on Saturday? If it owes a bunch of back taxes and not something you want to fucking deal with, then sometimes they can include it in the sale, right? So the proceeds will pay off all the back taxes. And then make sure there's not some type of waiting period even after. It's kind of pointless to go to these auctions and get a good deal, and then somebody can just steal it away from you. Like, that's pretty fucked up, right? All the normal people were there. Like, everybody that I know that owns rental properties and owns trailer parks and shit, they were all there, but they weren't even on the bid, and it was fucking way too much, dude. Over $60,000 what it ended up being or some shit. And for a fucking 0.6, 0.7 acres and a a 1960 something single wide, like I don't know. I don't think it was worth it at all, especially when maybe on the market. And if the house would have been like you could have rented it immediately, it would have been worth probably more than that. But I just don't see the value in trying to fix that house. Well, she wasn't even buying it for that value, right? She just wants it to be part of her family land, like it extends her land closer to the road. Even though it doesn't actually have road frontage, it gets it closer, I guess. Whatever. But you go to an auction because you expect a deal, right? No one goes to the auction and is like, well, I could have bought this on realtor.com, you know, not even went to a fucking auction. It was weird. The whole thing was weird, but there you go. Maybe it was all you assholes that showed up. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it on the show. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I wanted a piece of land. We're not planning on moving or doing anything for a year. But in my head, the way I justified getting a piece of land potentially right now is like I'd have a year to work on it. Like I could tear down the trailer or do something, whatever I'm going to do with it. I could fix it up. I could get it set up for this. I could do that. I have a year to fucking work on it and have something to do, but not at fucking $60,000. You can eat a bag of dicks. All right. That actually might sound crazy to some of you guys. Like, I don't know what land is in your area, but like, if you Google like the average 1 acre plot in Unicoi County, it probably goes between $7,000 to $15,000 average. If it's not in the city, even if it does have utilities on it, that does utility. Putting utilities here isn't that expensive. Most places not in the city will have power or power at the road. They'll have septic. Maybe if a house has ever been there or no septic, but it's pretty easy. Most places get approved for a septic tank, but like 0.6 acres for fucking $60,000. I don't know. You did say it was an old lady. Yes, and you are an old lady. Actually, it is an older lady. She's actually fucking state representative or some shit. And now she's running for a different office. I don't know. She's got that daddy's money. You know what I mean? Imagine you just happen to own the land. Let's play this out. Imagine if I were a state representative. Okay? I am William Byrd, state representative for this area that I live in, Unicoi County. District 3, District 5, I don't even remember. Anyways, imagine, you know how secretive Walmart is about where they put their fucking stores? Like the goddamn CIA, dude. Like the goddamn CIA. Like they send in complete secret teams. They all have to get hotel rooms and stay at different hotels under their personal names. They can't like put like Walmart corporate. Like they're insane because what they're afraid of is that first of all, they do a whole lot of testing. Like where's the perfect place for this store? Second of all, they're afraid of people getting tipped off, raising prices, doing this, other stores coming in, someone buying the plot, holding it ransom, whatever. They're like super secretive, okay? Walmart's insane. So imagine me, state representative, no one knows a Walmart's coming to my town, and then I just happen to sell the plot of land to Walmart. Land that was just farmland, right? That has a value, right? Farmland has a value. It doesn't have the same value as Walmart being there. Oh, and just months before Walmart decided to buy it, it just happened to get redistricts so a Walmart could be there. How crazy is that? Then, imagine I'm also a state representative. And on top of that, while I'm worried about the Walmart's there, got my money. Helene comes through and destroys our local hospital. So we have to build a new hospital. How serendipitous that the new hospital has also decided to buy a plot of my land to build a new hospital. Isn't that crazy? It'd be wild, wouldn't it? That'd be just fucking wild. That now, the plot of land that I held on to after I sold to Walmart, the land right behind it, the local hospital now has to build there. Crazy. I tell you. Fortuitous. That's what I would say. Fortuitous. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if any of that has anything to do with it, but that did happen.
RFK got caught blatantly lying during his Senate confirmation hearings, and it has to be the worst thing that he's ever done, and I want to tell you what that is in case you haven't heard this. In 2018, 2 infants in Samoa died after anesthetics were mistakenly added to the measles vaccine.
So basically what happened, we've studied this with RFK, the Samoan children. So basically what happened is they had the vaccine is like a dry powder with a little glass vial. And all they do is add like the sterile water to it. And the nurse, instead of drawing up the sterile water to mix with the powder, she actually drew up like some fucking anesthetic, all right? And put it in there and killed 2 kids. She fucking killed them. The nurse was charged. They figured it out almost immediately what happened. She used anesthesia instead of water to mix up their 2 doses. And she was fired. I think she went to jail over it. I'm pretty sure. They found out what happened almost immediately, and it killed those 2 kids, and it was horrible. But the anti-vaxxers come, and they're like, this is what happens when you give kids vaccines.
I'm going to tell you what that is in case you haven't heard this. In 2018, 2 infants in Samoa died after anesthetics were mistakenly added to the measles vaccine. The cause was identified as a medical error, but there was already damage. Vaccine hesitancy surged throughout Samoa, and RFK's anti-vaccine organization, the Children's Health Defense, began spreading
vaccine safety science needed. Were these once healthy children who died the only 2 to receive the MMR that day? If not, why were they the only ones to die? Research needed to determine susceptibility so that no child is ever injured. The case shakes faith in Samoan health system. The emotionally charged cases sparked fears in Pacific nation about the study of the safety of vaccinations, with the Samoan government issuing an immediate recall on the MMR vaccine.
Targeted misinformation into Samoa, trying to exploit this tragedy after the facts were already known. Measles vaccination rates plummeted in Samoa. RFK then traveled there, where he discussed vaccine misinformation and pitched this idea of a so-called natural experiment study where Samoa would have to withhold measles vaccines and compare outcomes in those who were vaccinated and unvaccinated, which is highly unethical. Not long after a measles outbreak actually began, thousands were infected, 83 people died, most of them children. Hospitals were overwhelmed, and actually they ran out of pediatric coffins and had to get them imported.
Yeah, so the water they use is obviously sterile water, but it's called something. Bacteriostatic water, maybe, or something like that. It is like you're going to inject it into your body. It's like the fucking cleanest form of water.
During the outbreak, RFK sent messages to the Samoan Prime Minister claiming that the deaths weren't actually caused from the measles, but from the vaccine itself. Eventually, Samoa launched this emergency door.
So his company comes in that he managed, that he runs, that sells onesies that says, no vaxes for me. He comes in and claims like these Samoan kids are dying from the measles, and he's blaming the fucking vaccine. We're literally seeing kids die from the measles at historic fucking rates in modern history. Insane amount of kids. And he's like, it's got to be the vaccine. But everybody stopped taking the vaccine.
Door-to-door campaign for vaccine, and that's what finally stopped this outbreak. Now, here's where the new lie comes in. During his Senate...
The only thing that stopped the outbreak was they re-implemented the vaccine schedule. The only thing. That's the only thing that stopped it. And now it's not just kids that are getting it on a normal schedule. They had to bring in fucking everybody because it's been they've fucking stopped taking it over years, right? Everybody's hesitant about it. Kids haven't taken it. Now when you're supposed to get it when you're 2 or whatever, now you're fucking 4, 6, whatever. They had to bring them all in, and that's the only thing that stopped it. Literally, you can watch the data when they re-implemented mandatory vaccines and watch it fall off the goddamn chart.
I was like a ninja.
I owe you this for blowing up your Discord today. Oh, thank you. No big deal. Hell, I'm glad people are participating. I had a pretty good Discord back when I supported Trump, and I went chasing the grifters over on Telegram, but now I fucking hate Telegram. I'm trying to get Discord more active. So thanks. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it.
this emergency door-to-door campaign for vaccine, and that's what finally stopped this outbreak. Now, here's where the new lie comes in. During his Senate confirmation hearings, RFK claimed repeatedly that he never went to Samoa to talk about vaccines. He took no responsibility for his actions whatsoever. But newly released emails from the U.S. State Department showed that officials who helped connect RFK with Samoan leaders explicitly said the purpose of his visit was to raise concerns about vaccines and share his views on vaccine safety.
The only reason I need to get the rooms cleared up and fixed again to where you have rooms where people can go video chat and different things and blah, 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 everything. Yeah. The reason Kennedy is coming is to raise awareness about vaccinations, more specifically, some of the health concerns associated with vaccinating from his point of view. Explicitly went there for that.
So yes, he lied. His actions helped undermine vaccine trust in Samoa, which was followed by a deadly measles outbreak. And now we're watching him apply the exact same playbook here in the United States. RFK got caught blatantly lying during his Senate confirmation hearings, and it has to do with one of the worst things that he's ever done. And I want to tell you what.
Remember when they asked him? They're like, the group you represent still sells these onesies that say not vaccinated and happy, don't bring vaccines near me, all this bullshit, right? He's like, I'm not head of that. He had quit 72 hours beforehand. 72 hours before that. And he's like, I have nothing to do with that fucking, what are you talking? I don't even know who those are. That was, they do that at my company? No. I have, it's been days since I worked there.
It is in case.
Fucking loser, piece of shit. I wonder if they got any new clips. Let's see. Oh no. Yes, it appears they do.
I'm tired of this.
No, we're not moving on. We're not moving.
They've all been trying to quit.
They are protecting the criminals.
The problem is it's Joe Biden, it's Barack Obama. They're all in there.
They are trying to punish the victims.
That's why they're hiding it.
They're trying to punish the survivors for coming forward by giving all of their information and doxing them. And they are protecting the.
I'm not protecting anybody.
You are, yeah, you are. I support Donald Trump. I don't care if you children. That's what.
It is technically a saline solution, but a saline solution covers a lot of saline solutions. But it is, you're right, it is technically a saline solution. I'll look it up. Hold on. For injections, you use sterile water for injection, SWFI, also referred to as bacteriostatic water for injection. Highly purified sterile water that meets strict pharmaceutical standards, unlike tap or bottled water. Dude, I've seen junkies draw water up out of toilets. Like, I did my drugs, okay? I'm not going to say I didn't. I've done a bunch of drugs. Basically all of them that I could find at different times, okay? A bunch. A lot of drugs. I've never drawn water up out of a toilet. Not even the back of one.
What you are.
Guess what? You just put words in my mouth, and I don't appreciate it.
Do you support Donald Trump? Do you still support Donald Trump?
A single fact to back up.
Do you still?
Phil still exists. Phil is now claiming that Epstein was a deep undercover agent for the U.S. government who had to fuck kids to expose that people were fucking kids.
Support Donald Trump after all of this shit.
Stop yelling at me.
You're just a bullshitter.
Stop
Do
yelling.
you still support that child after all this shit?
I do not believe he did all of that. I don't believe it.
So the answer is
support him
yes.
as our president. I do not believe he
You
did
don't believe
that
evidence.
part.
You don't believe evidence.
No more than we do.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let's say he didn't do anything. Let's say you're right. Why does his name appear in these pages thousands?
Oh, that's crazy. That's so dangerous. So dangerous. I don't know what to call this guy. I have a guy I know that had a younger brother that only came around every once in a while. There was an issue. His mom had custody. His brother had custody, whatever. This guy, I did drugs with him when I was young. I'm not going to lie, when I did. But I didn't see him after high school. A couple years after high school, he is working a construction site down in Georgia. Everybody was getting Roxy's at the time from Florida. He gets off work at his construction site, and nobody that shoots up 99.9999999% of people that shoot up don't use alcohol swabs. Like, you know how your doctor swabs alcohol to kill anything? Most people don't do that, right? They're just worried about getting a needle. Anyways, so he gets off work. He's in his car. He gets out of fucking Roxy, does a cold shake on it in the top of a pop can, or the bottom of a pop can, does a cold shake on it, draws up some water, throws it on it, draws it up through a cigarette filter, injects it. Right? Hits a vein in his arm, injects it, puts up the needle, everything. He's sitting there, it kicks in, and his vision just goes. He went fucking blind while in his car. He passes out and goes blind. He's still in his car at the construction site where he works, and he's fucking blind. Blind, dude. So they found out that he had injected. So when you shoot up, dude, it fucking hits fast. Like you're like waiting for a second. It's in your mind, you imagine like it goes to your heart, and when it hits your heart, it goes fucking everywhere. Like your heart's a big pump. Anyways, he goes blind while sitting there. Next thing he knows, like he can hear people around him, but he just became blind. Anyways, he goes to the hospital. He's ended up in the ICU and all this shit. They found out that while he's working construction, he picked up some type of fucking bacteria or something on his arm. And not only did he inject a yeast infection of some type that was just on his skin, but some other fucking bacteria that attacked the like optical nerves behind his eyes and blocks them from functioning. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I've seen people get like cotton fever and shit where they've been like shooting up, like, and their shit'll swell up and it'll get pussy and drain and shit. Like, that's crazy. But to go blind?
Dozens of times.
Flight logs, the times he flew up and down from Florida to New York. He never went to the island. We know that. I still think that he turned state's evidence on some of this stuff and some of those other people too. I really do.
The entire
So the mom believes that he turned state's evidence and testified against Jeffrey Epstein. That's why he's in the Epstein files.
Do you believe the emails between Epstein and Elon Musk, arranging times for them to meet on his island and have parties, and Elon Musk
I
say,
see some of those emails. We don't know. How can we know, Chad? How can we know?
You're bringing up an issue that's not worth bringing up. It's moot.
how can we know? But that attitude, like Haley and I can apply it to anything we want to then.
literally anything.
Do it.
So how do we know Donald Trump won the election?
You put it on everything you put on this show that you can't prove. You pull that bullshit.
And when I say
you do it.
His name is in the Epstein files thousands of times.
You're a communist.
You guys are insane. You're insane.
You agree with that?
That's right.
Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files along with a bunch of other people. Yes.
Yeah, put them all in jail. Every one of them.
If it's true, yes.
And I say you put every one of those women in jail if it isn't true
Why?
for false accusation.
Oh, he's saying that they falsified stuff.
If these women didn't get and all that bullshit, once
The women, by the way, the women that were abused from Jeffrey Epstein, they made up Jeffrey Epstein's emails. The women made up the stories in Jeffrey Epstein's private emails, by the way, just so you know.
it's all proven, I think they should all be locked up and the keys thrown away.
Your brain.
Oh, I guess I didn't tell you. He's no longer blind. They treated his infection. He was in the ICU for years, for a long time, not years. His brother went down and they had to do like blood transfusion after blood transfusion after blood transfusion to clean up like the fucking bacteria in his blood and shit. And after weeks, he comes out of ICU. He gained his vision back while he's in ICU, but it was like really cloudy and shit. He's not blind anymore. I guess I should have finished the story. He didn't die or anything.
Is busted. To think that someone would come forward after being a child of a survivor of child, to think that somebody would come forward for fame and fortune.
Give me a name of one and tell me what happened to her.
Virginia Giuffre herself.
Whoa.
Do you believe the emails between Epstein and Elon Musk?
Virginia Giuffre killed herself. Oh,
I just never, growing up, thought that you were this person. I never thought that you would be like this.
Well, that's too bad. I never thought you'd turn out like this either.
Why would I believe something that just to say to you and Chad, yes, when I don't think it?
I literally like.
I made a comment on a Facebook post earlier that was like, yeah, we have a fucking retarded, vengeful, racist, rapist fucking toddler in charge of the most powerful nation on the fucking earth, right? And I can't believe it. And someone responded and said, I can believe it, and it's exactly who we need right now. Like, not even disputing all the things I said about him. It's exactly who we need.
Never in a million years did I think both of you.
You did not turn out well for me.
I never thought you would support.
I have this running theory. So if you've ever watched this show, I have this theory that the dad's made completely out of silly putty. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched this show. I have this running theory. So if you've ever watched this show, I have this theory that the dad's made completely out of silly putty. hear me out. If you watch the show, he starts, or his bones are jello or something. If you watch the show, he starts straight up in the chair. And the longer the show goes, the more he just kind of melts out of it. Like he slowly slides out of the chair. I don't know how else to, look how low he is right here. He starts straight up in the chair like someone put him there. And like the heat from the lights or something, he just melts out like a puddle.
I think you're both.
That's why they limit their shows. So they don't have to like fucking mop him up off the floor when they're done.
Insane.
Something so grotesque in all my life. And it's disappointing. You are disappointing.
You are disappointed.
Yeah, he's like ignorant piece of shit. Will repeat any meme ever, right? Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit. But sometimes when he's not around, they get through to the mom. Sometimes.
To me.
I'm done.
No, Mom, don't be done.
But they raise, they're like super, they're not even Republican. They're Trump worshipers. They buy all his merch. They got his watch. They got his Bible. They got a teddy bear. They got like a little shrine, like a shelf they keep it all on. They're like Trump worshipers. It's so much of their identity. I think they're afraid to pull out now. Sometimes when the dad's not around, they can get through to the mom and she'll be like, well, if that's true, then yeah, I wouldn't support him. But she never believes it's true, right? And then their two kids, Chad trains people. This guy, he trains people to go on reality TV shows. He wrote a book about how to win The Bachelor or something. And then their daughter owns a bakery down in Texas, but she's also super liberal.
This is part of the hard conversations. This is what we're doing the show for.
Yeah, Mom's done. You know what? I'm done too. Let's shut this down.
To sit here and just continuously
Shut it off. We're done.
make excuses for Donald Trump
Chad.
and all of his name and all these
Haley,
files and what
click
he's
us off.
done, it's grotesque.
Click us off.
I said if he is committed,
They're trying to quit.
If they find out it's for real, then he's not my president.
It is for real. That's what these documents.
But even if Trump came out and said, yeah, you know, we did that, I don't think she would. It sounds like we're having a breakthrough when she says, if this is for real. But they've literally shown her stuff and been like, look, you can see it is for real. And she's like, I don't know. Video can be edited. I've seen some other videos that made it look like it wasn't real. I've heard some other people say, nope, it's not real. Don't believe your eyes. I've heard people say that. Like, it's just insane.
are.
You believe that right now. I don't believe it yet. I do not believe it just because his name's in the file.
Click the off
Look how much lower he is. Look, he's melting before our eyes.
button, Mary.
Hang on, Dad, hang on.
We don't need to put up with this shit.
Put up with what shit? The Epstein files?
I just never, growing up, thought that you were this person.
It's
Here's the
communist
deal.
propaganda.
I've learned that there are people that worship Trump, right? It doesn't matter what you like. I supported Trump. I voted for Trump the first go around, right? I thought Trump was speaking to me and my problems are his problems and he was going to take care of them. And I liked that he was different because I felt like nothing had changed. And the way I was brought up and, brought up, even though I wasn't Christian with those beliefs and the area I'm from, my parents and everything, I voted for Trump. But I didn't have this fucking I'm going to the grave trying to convince people and believing that Trump is the greatest thing to ever happen to America. There are people like that. They're like Trump worshipers, like maggots is what I like to call them. There are also a lot of people that held their nose and voted for Trump. Or said, I don't really support either one of them. I'm not voting at all. Those are the people that will win the midterms. Those are the people that will win the next election. You're not going to get the Trump worshipers. It's just not happening.
Propaganda
You two believe
is
one
total
thing.
shit.
You two believe one
and we
thing.
think you're both full of shit.
When he said I could walk out on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and they still support me in broad daylight or whatever, he was telling the truth.
You
This
two
isn't
believe
about
one thing right
belief,
now, we
Mom.
believe something else.
The
We're not
Epstein
getting
files have
rid of
been
it.
Turn it off.
released. You have the name.
Turn it off.
You have the information. You are ignoring it. You have what you need.
Her off my computer.
Quit yelling at us when we're done.
Hang on, we're not yelling. I'm trying to get you to think about what is in front of you.
You're not going to get us to think about anything.
I know
We
you
don't
don't.
That's the truth. You're not going to get us to think about anything. The dad just argues to argue without even understand. He's like, I'm trying to get you to think about something. We won't think about nothing, you piece of shit liberal. We don't think.
I know
don't
that.
believe
That ain't no
you.
shit.
I know
We
that's
don't
true of
believe you,
you.
and we don't believe
Okay.
anything you believe. So
I'm
call
not
it out
asking you
your
to
ass.
believe anything. I'm asking you to look at the facts. Hang on. Mom,
Let me end this by saying this.
And
If
what?
this is all true.
are you guys
Biden
quitting the podcast?
a long time ago. Biden's
What?
administration hated Trump so bad it would have been out there a long time ago.
Okay. I get that you have these things you stick to. And by the way, I've been watching
Why didn't Obama release it?
Max probably as much as you, just to
It's
see how they're
time
covering
to-
all this.
It's time to go bye-bye, guys. This
Here's the
communist
deal.
propaganda
You two believe
is
one
total
thing.
shit.
You two believe
And
one
we
thing.
think you're both full of shit.
You
This
two
isn't
believe
about
one thing right
belief,
now. We
Mom.
believe-
Communist
The
propaganda.
files have been
Turn it off.
released. You have been.
Trump's name is in Epstein files thousands of times. You agree with that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just the volume of mentions of him, even if some of it is not right or people have made shit up, fine. Let's say even half of all of those, his appearances in the Epstein files are like not factual. Half of them are. Like, why is his name in the Epstein files at all?
I told you, the flight logs, the time he flew on the airplane from New York to Florida. I swear, I think he's turned on some people. His name was in there saying Trump said this about this. That's why I think it's in there.
And then why do you think the DOJ released all the names and photos of the victims when they swore up and down?
It looks like.
Fox just resubscribed for 19 months.
Thank you very much for your subscription, FR Fox. It looks like the FBI did like a document search for Donald Trump. And at one point, they even searched Don T, Donnie T, because words like don't, D-O-N-T, were redacted. Like, don't bring that to the party. Don't was redacted. Why would the word don't be retracted? For any other reason. In multiple files, just the word DON apostrophe T is redacted because they searched. They scraped it for Donald Trump's name at some point. And even though they didn't redact it in every instance, they did in a lot.
The reason it was taking them longer than the legal date they had to release these files was to protect those victims.
Were any photos with him and young children released that he abused children? No.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about Trump.
I am.
Okay, I'm asking you a question about the victims. Why do you think the DOJ released the names and photos of the victims?
Because they got their approval to do so?
They did not. All of these victims are saying, we did not give our approval. Trump's name is...
And the law said that the only people that should be redacted are the victims. And they still released the victims. Even though they said the reason it's taking so long is because we got to protect the victims. But they didn't seem to protect the victims. But
Mom, are you okay with Trump arresting journalists?
I'm okay with this situation, yeah, because he was not only just a journalist, he was in there with them. He knew when it was. They planned it in the parking lot. He went in to agitate them. And
oh, this is Don Lemon.
So upset, she fell, broke her arm. They did not allow them to go get the children.
There was a lady that was so upset she fell and broke her arm. Bullshit.
Agitate them, and there was a woman in there that was so upset she fell.
Oh, I've got a log. Hold on. Let's see. We already watched that one, didn't we? I've got a lawyer's response to this crazy lady that says that. I think it's this guy. So this woman's insane.
This isn't a joke, and Don Lemon should not consider this a joke. And I am a real lawyer. I practiced law for 15 years, and then I sold my law firm. The first thing they teach you in law school is that what you do is you look at the elements of the crime, and then you apply the facts of the case to the elements of the crime to see if you have enough to have an indictment or have a case. The government has enough.
She does this thing where she says the length of the indictment tells you how like valid the indictment is. Like insane. This person right here destroys her. What? I think she used ChatGPT. Like, give me reasons that the Don Lemon indictment is very good, I guess.
The AI-generated lawyer slop did I just see? Take a look.
And I am a real lawyer. I practiced law for 15 years, and then I sold my law firm.
And I'm a currently licensed attorney in Minnesota at the State Supreme Court, the Federal District Court, and the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals.
The first thing they teach you in law school is that what you do is you look at the elements of the crime, and then you apply the facts of the case to the elements of the crime to see if you have enough to have an indictment or have a case.
Maybe not the first thing, but all right, I'm kind of with you. Keep going.
So let's take a look at the elements of the crime. There's two crimes. There's conspiracy against rights, and then there is interference with religious freedom at a place.
She doesn't even get the two crimes right. Right? The second one is the FACE Act.
There's two crimes. There's
or the face. It doesn't matter.
Interference with religious freedom at a place of worship.
Not exactly. There is conspiracy against rights. That's 18 U.S.C. 241. The other law is 18 U.S.C. 248, which is the freedom of access to clinic entrances.
Face acts.
There is no general crime for disrupting religious service. This is the actual crime. I think what she's doing is looking at the parentheticals put in by the lawyers. It's not the actual law that was violated.
And also, I wanted to do a quick comparison. The Trump case was a 34-count indictment. And I remember when I heard about that case, I thought, oh my God, Trump is in so much trouble. He's being charged with 34-count indictment. And then I read the indictment.
Parentheticals just mean like an explanation of like, here's the law, here's how he broke it. On or about blah, 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 such and such did this, blah, that's the parentheticals.
Indictment was about 14 pages, 16 pages long. It wasn't that long for 34 counts.
This is utterly irrelevant. The length of an indictment has no bearing on the strength of the case. You can have a speaking indictment, which has a significant factual layout of what happened, or you can have a very brief indictment that only lays specific acts sufficient to justify probable cause for the charge.
So the elements of the first crime, there's 4 of them.
Nope.
1, agreement, conspiracy. Number 2, there was a federal right involved. Obviously, religious freedom is a federal right. Number 3, there was knowing participation.
And the actual elements for this, not the ones generated by AI, are 1, that on a particular date, 2 or more persons reached an agreement or came to an understanding to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate 1 or more persons. 2,
they reached an agreement to come to an understanding to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate 1 or more persons. The defendant voluntarily and intentionally joined in the agreement, understanding either at the time it was first reached or at some later time while it was still in effect. And 3, at the time the defendant was in the agreement or understanding, he or she intended to interfere, hinder, prevent, name of persons, free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or laws of the United States. That is, and it says specify right here.
Voluntarily and intentionally joined the agreement or understanding. And 3, that at the time the defendant joined the agreement or understanding, they intended to, that's going to become important later, hinder, prevent, or inhibit the free exercise of or an enjoyment of a right secured by the Constitution of the United States.
Number 4, there were overt acts alleged specifically for Don Lemon.
Nope, no overt act requirement in Minnesota or the 8th Circuit. We actually specifically say you don't need to.
Does not require proof of an overt act. That's a lie. Like, I don't know where she got, we'll watch her review in a second. I don't know where she got this information from. Not from the indictment. It has to be ChatGPT.
Have an overt act.
That's it. That's all they need to prove that first crime.
No, I want to be crystal clear. There were absolutely crimes committed by the people who raided this church. At the very least, there's trespassing and disorderly conduct, potentially some more serious charges. But when we're talking about conspiracy...
Right. Trespassing, if they were asked to leave and they didn't leave, that's trespassing. Disorderly conduct, maybe, sure. These others, I don't know. Even 2 judges have told him, like, I don't think he got it.
United States versus Guest, which is a Supreme Court decision from 1966, is very clear that the conspiracy has to be to interfere with a protected right.
You know, they're just slow jerking it in the corner to the fact that the last administration successfully prosecuted those people who barricaded the abortion clinic. And they're like, oh, they did it to the abortion clinic. We're going to do it to people showing up at churches. It's fucking insane, dude.
Not everything that has the outcome of interfering with a protected right is the intent of it.
And you may ask, Will, why would the law about people attacking or preventing people from going to women's health clinics have anything to do with a church anyways? Because the Republicans refused to sign it unless they put an amendment in there that said, oh, this also applies to churches. That's why.
Interfering with that protected right. So here, all that Don Lemon and everybody else would need to show is that their intention was not to disrupt somebody's religious worship, that it was to create a scene, that was to confront the ICE agent. There's a lot of things that they could say that the intention was.
Yeah, they were in their corner going, oy vey, I can't, no, that's too far. I can't do that one. Right? They'll take it and run with it. I'll be on Nick Fuentes' next interview.
Unrelated to the protected right of religious worship. Just because that was the outcome doesn't mean that that was the intent. And that's what the state has to prove. That the government has to prove that their intentional purpose was to disrupt a religious purpose. And I'm not sure they can do that.
And the second one was interference with religious freedom at a place of worship.
Nope, it's the FACE Act.
Yep, the FACE Act.
I'm going to read you these elements to prove that.
Please don't.
But there are 6 elements. Number 1.
I'm going to spare you guys the AI-generated garbage that she's putting out there because there are no pattern jury instructions for this crime. This is actually the first time that the government...
Yes, it's not just stupid people, right? There are people that are well-educated that can... It's like this, you get into this feedback loop to where you're like a guy on the inside. You feel special because you and this group of people know something that others are too dumb, too ignorant, or too unwilling to see. And the more that someone with the credentials to actually know this says it doesn't exist, the more it feeds that fire, like I know something that they can't admit or they don't even know or they're not telling them. It's so fucking weird.
The DOJ has prosecuted under the religious portion of the FACE Act. But I think looking at it, when you look at the initial text, so it says by force or threat of force or physical obstruction, intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise First Amendment right of religious freedom at a religious place of worship. Now, when you look at that, you're like, okay, yeah, that's what happened.
Oh, my shit. What happened? Are you horse-cocking me?
What in the...
we're going to skip back ahead. I don't know what happened there.
Generated lawyer. Intention was not to disrupt somebody's religious worship, that it was to create a... Talking about conspiracy, United States versus Guest, which is a Supreme Court decision from 1966, is very clear that the conspiracy has to be to interfere with a protected right. Not everything that has the outcome of interfering with a protected right is the intent of interfering with that protected right. So here, all that Don Lemon and everybody else would need to show is that their intention was not to disrupt somebody's religious worship, that it was to create a scene, that was to confront the ICE agent. There's a lot of things.
Obviously, right? Their intention was not to stop them from worshiping. It was to create a scene and ask them questions.
They could say that the intention was unrelated to the protected right of religious worship. Just because that was the outcome doesn't mean that that was the intent. And that's what the state has to prove. That the government has to prove that their intentional purpose was to disrupt a religious purpose.
I think of religion as like a conspiracy theory, right? It satisfies that, this need to like fix the unknown or know more or have some different relationship that other people can't know, won't know, or too ignorant to know or unwilling to. I think religion like satisfies that same need, and it's about death, right? No one likes to think, I have fucking like literally breakdowns, like existential crisis when I'm like, oh my fucking God, I'm fucking close to death, closer than I've ever been today. And what have I fucking done with my life? And what comes? Is it just black? Is it nothing? What the fuck happens?
And I'm not sure they can do that.
And the second one was interference with religious freedom at a place of worship.
Nope, it's the FACE Act.
And I don't even know if I have to read you these elements.
All right, here we go.
Please don't.
But there are 6 elements. Number
I'm
one.
going to spare you guys the AI-generated garbage that she's putting out there because there are no pattern jury instructions for this crime. This is actually the first time that the government, the DOJ, has prosecuted under the religious portion of the FACE Act. But I think looking at it, when you look at the initial text, so it says by force or threat of force or physical obstruction, intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise First Amendment right of religious freedom at a religious place of worship. Now, when you look at that, you're like, okay, yeah, that's what happened. But you have to look at the definitions. Never skip definition day. When you look at the definitions, you see that as used in the section, interfere with means to restrict a person's freedom of movement. That
interfere with, the definition in this law says to restrict their freedom of movement, to keep them from going in or going out. They didn't do that.
That's it. Not like interfering, like you're bothering me. You actually have to physically restrict their movement, prevent them from freely moving around. Intimidate means that you have to put the person in apprehension of bodily harm. That means they need to have a reasonable apprehension that they're going to be hurt. And physical obstruction means rendering impassable ingress and egress from the facility.
That's the same thing as, restricting a person's freedom. Rendering impassable. So you say, oh, they were a physical obstruction because they were physically there and they couldn't worship the way they wanted to. Well, the definition means rendering impassable the ingress, so going in, or egress, going out, from a facility that provides reproductive health services, or to form a place of, or to or from a place of religious worship. So they'd have to prevent them from going in or out, or rendering passage to or from such a facility or place of religious worship unreasonably difficult or hazardous. That's why when they barricaded themselves and used ropes and chains and furniture in that abortion clinic or women's health clinic or whatever, that they were charged with this. They literally barricaded the doors.
Or from the place of worship. And that makes sense because the entire reason the FACE Act exists is freedom of access. That's the FAC, the freedom of access to clinic entrances. And then they attached on religious places because that's how the amendment process works. So it's not just that you interfered with the religious practice. The law says that you had to interfere with them getting into or out of the building. And interfering means that you have to obstruct. You have to, what does it say?
Like you could go into an abortion clinic and chant like, you're killing babies. Where are the fetuses? Where do you sell them? But you're probably going to get disorderly conduct. You're probably going to get trespass from the area. You're probably going to get in trouble that way. You didn't violate the FACE Act. And I don't think anybody would try to say you did, right? They wouldn't try to charge you with it because you don't fulfill any of the tenets of the crime.
Render impassable ingress or egress. You cannot get by them. And there's just not video evidence to support that.
I'm actually surprised there's not some false imprisonment charge here.
I'm not.
I don't know if there is a federal false imprisonment charge.
There's not.
So we'll watch this lady's video in just a second. Hold on. I want to see what this is. An AI video, but it looks funny. ATF showing up at MAGA.
Sir, with the ATF, gonna need you to turn over all your firearms. What about my rights? Got you covered. Administrative warrant. Agent Dave signed off.
Okay, thanks.
Agent Dave signed off.
The government says it's fine. Who am I to argue?
Morning, sir. I'm with the ATF. Gonna need you to turn over all your.
If the government says it's fine, who am I to argue? That's right.
Is a question right now going through the plea, or is that a question later for sentencing?
It's just kind of a math question. I just want to know if it's fictional or fact.
Math is usually not fiction. It's math.
And yeah, so I'd just like to be explained, like, how math works. So I'm pretty good at math.
Want me to get a math professor in here to explain it? Because I'm not a mathematician.
That's what he said.
That he's not a mathematician because he's not. Because quite honestly, we go to law school, so we don't have to do math. But we have to do math in our job. What's your question?
Just to know if this is fictional or factual.
I don't know what this is.
Would you like me to?
No, what is this, Mr. Keith?
Your Honor, I think it's fine. The issue, and this been up with Ms. Anderson and I, is you had a question about the grams per 100 milliliters.
Dude,
and
that's a scientific question. You can call up the scientists or the lab analysts that do that. I'm not in charge of that. And the legislature makes up the laws. I'm in charge of following and enforcing the laws. So what's your question? You think that you were below the limit, above the limit, beyond the limit, how they came up with the limit?
No, they were the only thing they charged them with trespassing would be like a local thing, but the things they arrested them, charged them with was violation of the FACE Act and the other thing.
To this, I was not above the limit.
Okay, and that's like a AI chatbot thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, judges hate AI.
Yeah, it is.
An AI chatbot? Are we using artificial intelligence?
I'm sorry. So the conspiracy or interfering with the First Amendment rights of worshipers, accused of violating the FACE Act. Specific charges: lemon face federal charges alleging violating freedom of access to clinic entrances, the FACE Act, by conspiring to deprive worshipers of the right to physically and for physically obstructing people. What was the other charge? Even the Cato Institute, which is a right-leaning think tank, they've done a couple things that have been anti-Trump, I guess. One was they just did a big immigrant study, which we'll look up in a minute, but they even came out and said that this is unconstitutional. Face charged under the FACE Act, wild prosecution. We'll look about it. I don't remember what the name of the first charge was. Or the numbers. 18 U.S.C. 231. Interfering with First Amendment rights of worshipers, but that falls under the FACE Act, right?
I was measured in thousands, and the law goes by hundreds.
Okay. Conspiracy. I'm an idiot. It was conspiracy. 18 U.S.C. 241. Conspiring to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate.
We can have a trial if you want.
I am so great to have a trial. I love having trials, especially when the lab analyst comes, and especially when then it completely opens up to the maximum penalties. That's great and fine with me. Is that what you wish to do, and have a lab analyst up here to explain all of the scientific reasoning behind the calculations and behind their testing?
Just take me to jail.
What? Just take me to jail. Bro.
Morning, sir. I'm with the ATF.
Jail me. Can you just take me to jail? All right, now let's go watch this crazy lady's video. Where did it fucking go? There it is.
This isn't a joke, and Don Lemon should not consider this a joke. And I am a real lawyer. I practiced law for 15 years, and then I sold my law.
I think she put it, let me see. I think she took it down. Surely she took it down. Let's do this. Duplicate. Jillian Dadati. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what type of law she practiced. Yeah, her account's not private. 100% she took it down. Her full account's private.
The first thing they teach you in law school is that what you do is you look at the elements of the crime and then you apply the facts of the case.
And these people do a disservice, right? Because he's not going to get in trouble for the things that he's charged under. Trespassing, sure. If they want to go for him, or disturbance, right? Whatever. But the disservice they do is they try these crazy things, and then when it doesn't work, they're like, liberals get away with everything. It was a liberal judge appointed by Trump and a liberal jury who are all Republican. Like,
to the elements of the crime to see if you have enough to have an indictment or have a case. The government has enough to have a case here. So let's take a look at the elements of the crime. There's two crimes. There's conspiracy against rights, and then there is interference with religious freedom at a place of worship. And also, I want to just do a quick comparison. The Trump case was a 34-count indictment. And I remember when I heard about that.
Holy shit, she responded to the lawyer we just watched. Law of the Wild. The whole shit. Hold on. She left a comment. She says, I hope you feel better. Clearly, you are much more experienced than me, and this is a good analysis. I did a simple TikTok for lay audience because I thought it was a good topic. Lady, you came out and threw your experience on the line and said, this is all good. They got a great case. He's going to jail. I couldn't believe it.
Not sure what the insults were. Certainly none were intended, but I do feel better. I feel better when I'm able to correct legal misinformation and misinformation in general on this app. And I'm sure that you would kick my ass in any commercial law, real estate transactions. You would wipe the floor with me. But there's a reason why I don't make videos about that, because I don't know what I'm talking about in those areas of law. Could I make an educated guess? Yes. But I'm not going to make videos telling people this is how it is, because it's not my area. It's not what I know best. And I'm certainly not going to rely on AI-generated material to try to communicate to lay people, because it gives them wrong information. Just talk about what you know about. Not sure what the insults were.
Dude, I can't believe that's a bold move, dude, to be like, I hope you feel better about yourself for making a better video than me and calling me out. I bet you she deleted the comment too. I wanted to see the full comment. Have you not read the FACE Act? It does indeed prohibit interference or intimidation in houses of worship. It's literally in the video, Susan. Of course her name's Susan. Did you watch it? Never skip definition day. Nope. But I did hear him say the Clinic Act didn't cover houses of worship when it explicitly does. He's also wrong that the indictments didn't meet the definitions. She doesn't even know she's talking to him when she says, I heard him say. The indictments contain clear descriptions of the intimidation and obstruction. Oh, really? So at 4:40, when I put a big red box around the religious portion and read how it applied to place of worship, which specific overt acts in the indictment indicates threats of physical harm and rendering egress impassable. She says intimidation, overt acts 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, obstructions 15, 16, 17, 18, 27, 28, 29. Susan, stop asking Gemini to defend you. Man, you are not an expert. Ma'am, you're not an expert in the law. You are not a lawyer or an attorney. You are not qualified to speak. Let's see it. Hold on. We can decide, because the jury's going to have to decide whether this is rendering egress or ingress impossible and blah, 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 all that shit, right? We need to decide whether he had threats of physical harm, or rendering leaving or coming into the church impossible. That's what we need to decide. All right, here we go. City's Church, the church, a Christian house of worship located in St. Paul, in the morning of Sunday, January 18th at approximately 10:30 a.m. The church's pastor was leading a congregation in a liturgical service. In that service, the church's pastor and congregation were then exercising and seeking to exercise First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship, at a right that is also protected by federal statute codified in Title 18, United States Code, Section 248. After the service commenced, a group of approximately 20 to 30 agitators, including all the defendants named in this indictment. As the service commenced, a group of 20 to 40 agitators, including all the defendants named in this indictment, entered the church in a coordinated takeover-style attack and engaged in acts of oppression, intimidation, threats, interference, and physical obstruction alleged herein. As a result of the defendants' conduct, the pastor and congregation were forced to terminate the church's worship service. Congregants fled the church building out of fear for their... So first of all, they fled So egress was not blocked in any way, shape, or form. Fled the church building out of fear of their safety. Other Congress took steps to implement an emergency plan, and young children were left to wonder, as one child put it, if their parents were going to die. That's not relevant. That's like a tug of the heartstrings. Doesn't do anything for the case. I don't think it's true, but Jimmy was wondering if his mom was going to die. Wow. They should watch some ICE videos then. See what it's like to really wonder if your mom's about to die. Anyways, count one. The allegations set forth in paragraph 1 through 4 of this indictment are realleged and incorporated herein. Object of the conspiracy. Beginning on an unknown date and continuing to or on about January 18th, 2026, the state and district of Minnesota defendants, and names all the defendants, conspired and agreed with one another and with other persons known. Let me make sure he's in here. Don Ronaldo Lemon. With other persons known and unknown to the grand jury to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate multiple persons, including the clergy, staff, and Congress. So they conspired to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate. And, not or, and. Clergy, staff, and Congress of the city's church in the free exercise and enjoyment of rights and privileges secured to them by the laws of the United States, and because of such persons having exercised such right, namely exercise of the First Amendment right of religious freedom at the place of religious worship as secured by Title 18, United States Code, Section 248C, in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 241, conspiracy. Manner and means. In order to achieve the object of conspiracy, defendant Armstrong and Allen, together with other persons unknown to the grand jury, organized the operation targeting the church, which they dubbed Operation Pull Up, and promoted it on the internet via Instagram accounts. All defendants met at the shopping center for a pre-op briefing, during which Armstrong and Allen advised other co-conspirators, including defendants Kelly, Lemon, Richardson, Lundy.
Bone Oval just resubscribed for 31 months.
Thank you for the resubscription. I appreciate it. Kelly, Lemon, Richardson, Lundy, Cruz, Fort, and Austin about the target of the operation, i.e. City's church, and provided instructions on how the operation would be conducted once they arrived at the church. Once at the church, all the defendants entered the church to conduct a takeover-style attack and engage in various acts in furtherance of the conspiracy. Overt acts. In furtherance of the conspiracy and to accomplish the object thereof, defendants Armstrong, Allen, Kelly, Lemon, Richardson, Lundy, Cruz, Fort, and Austin, together with other persons, unknown and known to the grand jury, committed various overt acts, including but not limited to 1. On or about January 17, 2026, defendant Armstrong posted a flyer on 2 Instagram accounts controlled by her and someone else, advertising anti-IS action doubled Operation Pull Up, telling fellow agitators where to meet to prepare for the operation, and exhorting them to be ready to mobilize. ICE refers to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Overt act number 2. On or about January 17, 2026, defendant Allen posted a similar flyer to their Instagram. Overt act 3, on the morning of January 18th, all the named defendants gathered in approximately 20 to 30 other co-conspirators for a pre-operation briefing led by defendants Armstrong and Allen at the parking lot of Cub Foods at 1440 University Avenue, West St. Paul, Minnesota. Overt act 4, at the pre-operation briefing, defendants Armstrong and Allen advised other co-conspirators, including all of them listed, about the targets of the operation, City's church, and provided instruction on how the operation would be conducted once they arrived at the church. Overt act number 5. On the morning of January 18th, defendant Lamone began live streaming on his internet-based show, The Don Lemon Show, where he explained to his audience that he was in Minnesota with an organization that was gearing up for a resistance operation against the federal government's immigration policies, and he took steps to maintain operational secrecy by reminding certain co-conspirators to not disclose the target of the operation, and stepped away momentarily so his mic would not accidentally divulge certain portions of the planning session. Overt act 6, during discussions with defendant Armstrong at the pre-op briefing, defendant Lemon thanked defendant Armstrong for what he or she was doing and assured her that he was not saying what's going on, i.e. was not disclosing the target of the operation. B, defendant Armstrong explained that Operation Pull Up was a clandestine operation in which she and other agitators would show up somewhere that is a key location where the targets don't expect us, and we disrupt business as usual. Disrupt business as usual is not a tenet of this crime, by the way. That's what we're about to go do. All they have to do is prove that they weren't trying to stop them from worshiping. They were trying to make a scene, and they're free to go. Anyways, that's what we're about to go do right now. And see, defendant Lemon said he would see her there. Over at Act 7, before headed to the church to join his co-conspirators, defendant Lemon advised his live stream audience that we're going to head this operation. Again, we're not going to give any of the information away. Over at Act 8, at the pre-op briefing, defendant Allen led other co-conspirators in chants that they would use at the church, including "This is what community looks like" and "Ice out of Minnesota." They urged co-conspirators that they have a duty to fight for our freedom and a duty to win. As the group prepared to head to the church, directed her co-conspirators to stay bumper to bumper, make sure everybody gets through the light, and confirmed that everyone had the address. Over at Act 9, at the pre-op briefing, defendant Armstrong provided instruction for operational guidance to her co-conspirators, including the following. The first wave of agitators should enter the church essentially in an undercover capacity and position themselves around the church sanctuary. B, they should not sit together and should not wear anything that is activist identifying. C, those who had anything activism identifying should wait and come in with the second wave. Over at Act 10, continuing on the morning of January 18, 2026, all the defendants got in vehicles, traveled to their co-conspirators to the church to engage in the planned takeover-style operation. While en route to the church, defendants I'm going to stop reading the numbers, by the way. While en route to the church, defendant Richardson told Lemon that they had to catch up to the others, and defendant Lemon replied, "Let's go catch up." And because he was still live streaming, Lemon instructed Richardson and an unidentified male, "Don't give anything away." And advised his audience, "We can't say too much. We don't want to give it up." Continuing on the morning of January 18th, all the defendants together with the co-conspirators entered the church sanctuary, with the first wave positioning themselves among the congregants, and the second wave, led by defendants Armstrong and Allen, commencing the disruptive takeover operation in which the first wave of agitators then actively joined. As the pastor was beginning his sermon, defendant Armstrong interrupted the service with a loud declaration about the church harboring a director of ICE and indicating that the time for judgment had come, and the co-conspirators immediately joined in by yelling and blowing whistles in a takeover attack on the church, all of which quickly caused the situation in the church to become chaotic, menacing, and traumatizing to church members. By the way, I don't think they broke this law and they should be punished for breaking this law because they clearly didn't. I don't know that the church is the best place to do this. I understand the messaging, like this is a place of worship. You got an ICE guy here, blah, blah, blah. When you're in a protest, a lot of times, you saw this back during the summer of 2020. A lot of times you got to keep the public perception on your side. Even Martin Luther King talked about this, right? Martin Luther King said, it's not like I have an issue with like, oh, that's a holy place, blah, blah, blah. You need to keep the populace on your side. During the civil rights movement, they talked about the dogs attacking people at the water hose and people seeing those images and knowing what side was the right side. Okay? You might be turning a lot of people off if you do this. I'm not saying this one was inherently bad. If we start doing this and like we'll go to any church at any time, we'll pull up, fuck you. I understand the messaging and I understand why you want to do that. I think it might turn off a lot of people that would potentially support the movement. Whatever. While inside the church, defendants Armstrong, all the defendants oppressed, threatened, and intimidated church congregants and pastors by physically occupying most of the main aisle and rows of chairs. By the way, people were leaving the whole time. This isn't true. Near the front of the church, engaging in menacing and threatening behavior for some. Chanting and yelling loudly at the pastor and congregants and or physically obstructing them as they attempted to exit or move about within the church. There's no evidence of this whatsoever. They didn't stop anybody from leaving. People left almost immediately. Some people stayed and yelled, whatever. 16. While inside the church, defendant Austin stood with the other agitators around the main aisles in the church to intimidate the church members and obstruct and interfere with their freedom of movement. Approached the pastor and congregants in a menacing manner. Well, he couldn't have been blocking the rows and approaching the pastor. And near the end of the operation, loudly berated the pastor with questions about Christian nationalism and Christians wanting to have their faith be the law of the land. While inside the church, defendant Lundy personally participated in the disruptive takeover operation with other defendants by standing in the main aisle with the others and contributing to the physical obstruction and intimidation of the congregant. Participants participating loudly in some of the chants, saying one saying that the targeted ICE agent must be out, and punching his fist in the air. Ooh-ah! If someone's blocking the middle aisle, you just go to the ends. Right? You wouldn't say that the guy walking up the middle aisle with the offering plate was restricting you from leaving, would you? While inside the church, defendant Cruz personally participated in the disruptive takeover operation with other defendants by standing in and around the main aisle, while others contributing to the physical obstruction and intimidation of congregants and participating in some of the chants. While inside the church, defendant Kelly disrupted some of the service by chanting, "This ain't God's house. This is the house of the devil." They approached one female congregant, that's very funny, who was with 2 young children and demanded to know in a hostile manner why she was not involved in or supportive of the takeover operation, and screamed Nazi in the congregant's face and asked the child congregants, "Do you know your parents are Nazis? They are going to burn in hell." Defendant Lemon told his live stream audience about congregants leaving the church and about a young man. Wait. So you're saying Don Lemon, literally during the live stream, said people are leaving? I thought we were blocking them in. Right? We restricted their egress. They couldn't leave. Anyways. Don Lemon told his live stream audience about congregants leaving the church and about a young man who Lemon could see was frightened, scared, and crying. And Lemon observed that the congregants' reactions were understandable because the experience was traumatic and uncomfortable, which he said was the purpose. If protests were supposed to comply with everybody and make everybody feel comfortable, it wouldn't be a protest. But whatever. As the operation continued, defendant Lemon acknowledged the nature of it, expressing surprise that the police hadn't yet arrived at the church and admitted knowing that the whole point of the operation is to disrupt. To disrupt. He admitted to knowing the whole point is to disrupt. Well, if the whole point is to disrupt and not stop religious freedom, you've lost your case. But whatever. While the takeover operation was underway, defendant Lemon asked defendant Armstrong, who is the person that that we should talk to? Is there a pastor or something? She pointed towards the front of the church, but noted that the pastor might have run away. With the other co-conspirators standing nearby, defendants Lemon registered in Fort, approached the pastor and largely surrounded him to his front and both sides and stood at close proximity to the pastor in an attempt to oppress and intimidate him and physically obstruct his freedom of movement, while Lemon peppered him with questions to promote the operation's message. While talking with the pastor, defendant Lemon stood so close to the pastor Lemon, caused the pastor's right hand to graze Lemon, who then admonished the pastor and said, "Please don't touch me." Right hand graze, remember that. Although the pastor told defendant Lemon and the others to leave the church, defendant Lemon and the other defendants ignored the pastor's request and did not immediately leave the church, trespassing. After causing most of the congregants to flee, they couldn't flee! We either had to stop them from coming into the building to worship, went there with an intent to not let them worship, or stop them from leaving the area to worship. After causing most of the congregation to flee, some of the defendants and other agitators engaged in a chant proclaiming, "Who shut this down? We shut this down." As one congregant reported to the responding police officers, some of the agitators blocked the stairs leading to the church's child care area, which made it difficult and hazardous for parents to retrieve their children, causing some to take alternative routes in and around the church. Again, we didn't block their ingress or egress. At one point, defendant Lemon posted himself at the main door of the church, where he confronted some congregants and physically obstructed them as they tried to exit the church building to challenge them with facts about U.S. immigration policy. We see this in video. They're walking around him and not talking to him. So he's obviously not obstructing them. As a minivan full of children was preparing to depart from the church, defendant Kelly walked in front of the minivan and angrily yelled at the occupants. The defendants, Armstrong and Fort, stood in the front of the minivan while Fort interviewed with Armstrong. That's it. They say several times that they didn't block their ingress or egress, so it just didn't happen. Happy Black History Month, Susan. Professor and consultant, y'all learned a law's existence last week and thank your experts on it today. Susan, are you asking AI about the law too? I don't know. This woman's take was horrible. I can't believe she tried to respond to him. That is not good.
I thought, oh my God, Trump is in so much trouble. He's being charged with 34 count indictment. And then
this does not sound like a lawyer. So she heard that Trump was being charged and she thought, oh my God, he's in so much trouble because there are 34 counts. And then I read it and there wasn't enough pages. Listen.
I read the indictment and the indictment was about 14 pages, 16 pages long. It wasn't that long for 34 counts. I thought it was
especially when it's the same count over and over and over and over again. So some indictments you'll see will basically tell a story. Other indictments will be like, this happened, this is the charge.
Really weak indictment and they got a conviction on him. So this is a 14-page indictment with a lot of facts that apply to just 2 counts, just to give you a comparison. So the elements of the first crime, there's 4 of them, is 1, agreement, conspiracy. The indictment alleges Don Lemon joined Operation Pull-Up, which prosecuted...
I don't know. Very bad. All right, somebody told me to watch this. Let's grab it. We're paying attention to the guy on the top, I think.
There's a whole story.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Story.
Chair attacks Richard Dreyfuss. Look out! Look at him. Where's he going?
But they never. What? I never thought of it. Right? This girl, who was the picture of perfect innocence and beauty and Puerto Rican Catholic, your girlfriend.
Jesus Christ!
They took you.
Was he drunk or something?
You're right.
What is happening?
He is lost his mind. I think here's the thing. Bill Maher likes to smoke weed on his show. So I have a feeling that Richard Dreyfuss got so crazily high because when you're listening to him, he's not making any.
But that's before they were rolling. I mean, there's no.
That's the interview. That is the the whole interview is on.
And he was talking about kissing his sister.
Yes, he's like, you never wanted to kiss your sister, movie style, movie theater kiss. Movie kiss, and Bill Maher's like, "No, man, I don't want to kiss my sister." He's like, "Come on, movie star kiss, movie star kiss." And I was like, "Why are you talking about movie star kiss?"
He's struggling with that chair for sure. He's definitely struggling with the chair. That's established already.
Don Lemon walks up to the pastor. Trump's name is in the Epstein files thousands of times. You agree with that, right?
Yes.
Mom, are you okay with Trump arresting journalists?
I'm okay with
All right, back to this.
Yes, because he was not only just a journalist. He was in there with them.
He's a pedophile. What is
he
What was she going to say there?
Only just a journalist. He was in there with them. He knew when it was.
Good job, Avery.
Parking lot. He went in to agitate them, and there was a woman in there that was so upset she fell, broke her arm. They did not allow them to go get the children in the basement. They were not allowing them to have a church service.
No one stopped anybody from going to get their kids.
In peace. They went in to agitate. Yes, he needs to go to jail.
Don Lemon did not do that.
Yes, he did.
He was reporting the protest.
And out of all of them, Don Lemon should be the last one to be charged, right? He's a journalist. Even the Cato Institute came out and was like, I don't know if this is constitutional.
That's called free press.
He had it.
That piece of shit deserves.
Cato Institute, FACE Act, Don Lemon charged with violating may be unconstitutional.
To go to prison.
He had
Kelly's a loser from start to finish.
He had it planned. He planned it with that main lady, that Nakima lady, Armstrong. There was another lady that also was.
Do you understand how free press works? Do you understand that independent journalists go into war?
By the way, up until Don Lemon was arrested for it, the right stance has long been that the FACE Act is fucking unconstitutional because it applied to abortion clinics.
They go into all kinds of scenarios.
Here's how journalism works. The first judge in Minnesota declined the charges against him. The second judge in the district said no. The third one, which was the grand jury, said, oh, yes, if you violate someone else's civil rights, like attending that church service and trying to get in their face and take them down, there's going to be repercussions.
But Don Lemon wasn't a protester. Have you seen Don Lemon's coverage of that event?
Yes, and I've also seen other people's coverage, like Megyn Kelly, who is brilliant.
Megyn Kelly wasn't there. Mom, are you okay with Trump arresting journalists?
Megyn Kelly wasn't, but she's brilliant.
Yes, because he's a...
I've seen Megyn Kelly review Don Lemon's footage. She's brilliant.
Don Lemon walks up to the pastor.
Fired.
Don Lemon walks up.
Piece of shit.
All right, Dad. Don Lemon walks up to the pastor and he says, I'm not with the protesters. I am not a protester. I'm a journalist. And he interviews the pastor while it's going on.
Oh, well, that makes him clean. Okay. He's full of shit.
The pastor
makes him a journalist.
Well, we're not going to agree on this one either. We better move on because he should be in jail. He needs repercussions for what he did to those people that were in there praying to their God.
And what did Don Lemon do?
He incited this. He was down in the parking lot with that first lady trying to decide how to do it, what they were going to say. This was organized before they ever went in there. A real journalist doesn't organize, doesn't pretend how to take people down.
You have this big thing, this sticking point with protesters and stuff about organization. Do you think January 6th, that in quotes protest, the insurrection was organized?
Yeah, I think it was organized by Nancy Pelosi.
Probably.
Don Lemon walked up to the pastor. Why do you think the FBI took these ballots?
See, Weld.
To see how.
Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it.
Down of some of those votes.
There have been.
If you want to support the show, be like Weld, okay? Be like Weld, send some money. I spent way too much money at tiebreakers tonight. So be like Weld, send some money, support the show. There you go.
Countless investigations into that exact thing. All of them have come back and said there was nothing wrong here.
But we've never seen the ballots, have we?
Yes. I just read this to you. These claims have been repeatedly rejected by courts, state audits, and multiple bipartisan recounts.
Why are you so against the law, you and Haley? That judge said go in and seize them. Why are you so against that?
Because the law doesn't matter anymore. Trump owns the DOJ. he's doing whatever he wants, including stealing ballots now.
They didn't steal them. They seized them. It was the judge said go in and do it.
Why was Tulsi Gabbard there? Even if there's like this claim that like foreign intelligence agents manipulated the votes, why the fuck was she there?
I see nothing wrong with it.
The reason
they can't even keep their story straight. She says she told Congress she was there because Trump wanted her there. Pam Bondi told them because Trump wanted them there. Trump told them it was because Pam Bondi wanted them there, and Carolyn Levitt refused to answer the question.
They're doing this is so that he can now say whatever he wants. They're going to come back now. The DOJ is going to launch an investigation into this and be like, well, we found out all those votes were for Trump. And now they can do that with any election they want at any time. They're trying to set precedent for the government, for Donald Trump and the DOJ, the FBI, whatever, all of his different arms that he owns, to just march into any election place and say, here's what the results are.
That's your opinion. I don't believe that.
Why do you think the FBI took these ballots?
That's your opinion. I don't believe that. And I never will, Chad.
Are you still against Donald Trump running for president for a third term?
Yes, I don't want him to run for a third term. How many times do I have to tell you that before y'all start yelling at me?
So if he does, are you going to vote for him?
No, I don't want him for a third term. I have told you that several times.
So you're saying if Donald Trump runs for a third term, you're saying right now you will either abstain from voting altogether or vote for the Democrat?
No, I will not vote for a Democrat, but he will not run. It'll be J.D. Vance probably, and I will campaign for him.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to run either because I think he's going to be dead within a month.
Okay.
But you're saying if he does run, you will not vote in that election?
Yeah, he's too old.
Okay, interesting. He did shit his pants, like I said, right in a press conference this week.
Didn't see that. That's funny how you see all this stuff and I don't see it, but that's okay.
I can play you the video if you want.
Play her the video.
Haley, why are you so rude to me today? I don't need this shit. I really don't need this today. Believe me.
Are you still against Donald Trump running for president for a third term?
Damn. Damn. They get fucking heated over there, bro. That was a law response. Did we already watch this one? I think we did.
And is in the Epstein files isn't really surprising. But the fact that Peter Thiel, the guy who groomed J.D. Vance to be vice president, is in the Epstein files isn't really surprising. But what does surprise me is this conversation between Epstein and Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, where Peter Thiel comes up.
I've never met Peter Thiel, and everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts strange, like he's on drugs. Smoking, yeah. He looks under drugs. However, he has a company called Palantir, P-A-L-L-E-N-T-I-E-R. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company, and look at it. Palantir, P-A-L-A-N-T-I-E-R? Yes.
I found out about this audio.
I remember because they kept misspelling Palantir.
At Dropsite News, but it's there on the DOJ website, and you can go listen to it. The relevant part begins at 2 hours and 13 minutes. I've put the link down here in the comments below the video. But what you need to know is that it is Ehud Barak, Israeli politician, consulting Epstein for advice on how to cash out now that he's left government service and how to turn his experience helping run Israel into a...
What's crazy is like my parents fucking struggled so much my whole goddamn life and just got fucked and fucked and fucked and fucked by the system and kept voting red while the system was labeling them fucking, welfare queens or trying to be welfare. Like they couldn't get food stamps. They couldn't get housing assistance. They couldn't get this. They made shitty wages. Their companies always fucked them over. Like, every chance they got fucked and still kept voting red. It was just wild. Looking back on it now, but even back then, I was like brainwashed.
Profitable sideline for him. And Jeff says, I have just the thing for you. There's this company, Palantir, and you can be on the board of it, and I'm going to talk to the guy who leads it, Peter Thiel. I'm going to have lunch with him soon. And this is the revolving door of tons of politicians from all around the world, Israel, Europe, wherever it might be, take this route. Once you're out of office, you go lobby, you go do whatever. And that shows you part of what Epstein's business was. He was an advisor to these guys. He helped them kind of navigate that gray area between private corporate power and government service, where actually the world gets run.
How many times did Epstein accidentally put the equal sign instead of a letter? That was wild, right? Like every typo in there is like the equal sign and he's missing a letter. How often do you fucking accidentally hit the equal sign, dude?
We have receipts documenting that these two ended up doing work together that may have shaped recent history, like selling technology to certain countries to do certain repressive things. We also know that Palantir continues to have deep connections to Israel. This whole backroom network of powerful people are now in control of a lot of weapons and a lot of money, and they're still doing the same thing that they've always been doing. And what this has exposed to me is, I think, a symptomatic error in the thinking of left and also liberal spaces about like the way the world works, in that people who are like trained to analyze things, like an economist or like a historian or a philosopher or someone, will look at someone like, Thiel or Ehud Barak and be like, what is the philosophy? What is the grand vision? How do, the numbers and statistics correspond to the way this political actor has made a rational choice here or there, when really, like, there is no grand strategy. These guys are chuds, and there's a certain opacity that comes over world affairs because it's hard for someone who considers themselves an analyst or who's in a tradition that is about kind of trying to explain the world through facts and logic to get into the mind of somebody who runs the world, but runs it purely based off emotion, purely based off short-term, the next payday type thing. There is no strategy here. It's a bunch of thugs sitting around after dinner saying, hey, make $1 million there, take $1 million here, do this to that group of people. And there's just no rationale there. There's no reason for it. It's just brutal and clueless and dumb and stupid.
And they're so disconnected from the pain and suffering and shit they caused everybody else. Like, oh, take $1 million from there. Well, people will starve to death. Yeah, $1 million, though.
That's what it is at the end of the day. These guys are making these grand decisions that are going to impact millions, billions of people's lives, and they can't even spell Palantir. The fact that Peter Thiel, the guy who groomed JD Vance to be vice president,
Fucking insane, dude. Have you guys seen this one yet? So this guy, a stray Rottweiler, got inside his home and was fucking it up, like destroying the motherfucker. And a neighbor comes over and is like, I'm worried about your dog. He's like, that's not my dog. What's this?
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Anybody notice her shirt? The good friendly neighbor's shirt? It says, fuck you, you fucking fuck.
I can hear you. Are you my neighbor?
Oh, wait. The equal sign is an artifact from extracting and putting the data this file form. No typos. They did make a shit. Oh, well, I just keep seeing it randomly. I didn't know that. You taught me something.
Yes, I'm your neighbor.
The one that I always see from extraction and shit is like the % sign. Even people fucking iPhones and shit and PC to Android and Android to fucking iPhone. When you change the format of those, you get the goddamn % sign all the fucking time. It pisses me off trying to read it.
And I'm worried about your dog. He's not my dog. He's a stray. I haven't. He's a stray. The one that's in your house? In my house?
The one that's in my house is a fucking stray. It's not my dog. What is the... I saw you guys say the IRI. Erie Discord? What is that?
Yes. Inside my house? Inside your house. What? There's a dog inside of my house? Yes.
Oh, she thinks she's being punked. Like, yeah. Oh, I'm really important. Yeah. Okay, I do know the person.
I haven't seen you here for a week, so I thought it was your dog. Ma'am, it should not be a dog inside my house. There was a black dog that was somebody's in the neighborhood, but there should not be a dog in my house. Yeah, it's the black dog. And it's inside my house?
Yeah. He does not believe it shit.
Oh my God. I bet it tore my house up. Yes, your blinds and everything are all torn up. How in the world would a dog get in there? Is there a way you can check to see if on the side of...
Okay, hear me out. This is the first time I've watched this far into the video. I just saw the comments or the people talking about this video. Does she seem a little guilty to you? Like, I saw the dog outside your house, and I thought maybe it was your dog, so I put it inside and locked the door.
Everything are all torn up. How in the world would a dog get in there? Is there a way you can check to see if on the side of the house there is a...
Same, fell runner. My parents, even though I try to tell them, even towards the end of their life, like, this is how generational wealth is passed down. Dude, this is like the biggest indicator that you're going to provide some wealth. My parents rented their whole life. And then because dad didn't want like maintenance and this and could never come up with a down payment, didn't have the money, lived paycheck to paycheck, rented their whole fucking life, even when housing was stupid fucking cheap, had opportunities, I'm sure, to buy houses that decided not to. And when he gets laid off because he loses his medical card to drive a truck, and that's what he did his whole life with no high school diploma or nothing, he gets disability and shit. They just don't have a place to go. That's it.
A door that opened or windows that were cracked? I'll check. Please, and come right back because I have to call the police now. That is not my dog, first of all. He should not be in my...
There's a dog like bed and a blanket laying in the yard.
House. That dog was outside. How in the world would that dog get inside my house unless it broke my window? And that's not my dog. I don't know. I'll go check. Please, thank you so much. You're welcome.
So she claims that like all the neighbors could see like his blinds were being torn down and hear the dog running amok in the house. And this neighbor has been out of town for a week. So that's why she says she came over. That's how she knows. Like, hey, your blinds are torn down. I'm worried the dog's going crazy.
Here you go.
I'm going to see if he has an update in a second, but we got to get through it first. This says, I went to go find the damage and bro was looking at me.
Oh, your blinds are torn up. How in the world would this happen?
She for sure put the dog in there. I think she sounds kind of guilty. Like maybe the day before she saw the dog, like couldn't get in the house or something, and she just like opened the door and let it in real quick. That's a way to break the ice with your neighbors, you know?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So your back door is unlocked?
Oh my God.
But it wasn't open, it was shut.
So he opened the door and went in.
Oh, you guys want to hear a funny story? Dogs can't open doors. You guys want to hear a funny story? My dad carried his whole adult life, like carried a pistol. For like, hell, I carry a pistol. I don't need to explain it. Well, one time, me and Mariah and the kids were out of town, and my mom and dad were going to house sit for us, and they just decided to stay at our house, right? Stay there, watch TV, eat, do everything. So I had a dog that me and Mariah, when we first got together, we adopted it from the pounds, and his name was Gilligan. He was a stupid, smart dog. He could climb a chain link fence. Like, he figured out how to put his paws in fucking either chain link fence or like cattle wire, like square fence, and he climbed fences. He was just an escape artist. He's crazy. The only thing that Gilligan didn't like is thunderstorms, okay? So during thunderstorms, he'd be all up inside of me. And he was never trained, but he could tell, like, when I was aggravated with, like, my PTSD, and he would, like, try to get, like, under my feet and, like, distract me and shit. He's a pretty smart dog. Anyways, we found out he could open doors because we used to put him in the bathroom when we were potty training him and we weren't home because it's easier to clean up the mess, and he would just open the fucking door and leave. And, in fact, one time, he opened the door, came out of the bathroom, shit in the living room, went back into the bathroom, shut the door, and locked it. So not only did I come home and have to clean up his shit, I had to break in the bathroom because he locked himself in there. Anyways, so my mom and dad were house sitting for us, and a storm rolled in. And my mom's in the kitchen where the back door was, and my dad's in the living room watching TV. My mom's in the kitchen, like at the stove, and she hears the handle jingle. And she looks real quick, nothing. So she goes back to cooking, right? She's moving a pan around on the thing. And she swears she hears the handle jiggle again on the back door. And she's like freaking out. So she's like staring at it for a moment, and she doesn't say anything. She's like sitting there cooking, staring at it, and the handle jiggles again. And she's like, Dennis. She's like whispering, get in here. Somebody's breaking in. Get here. So he comes in there, and he doesn't believe her. He thinks she's losing her mind. They've all forgot about the dog and the thunderstorm that's happening outside. They all forgot about the dog, and he's watching it, and the handle jiggles, and he's like, he freaks him out, but he thinks he's like imagining it. And mom's like, see, I told you, somebody's coming in. And he's like, no, we're seeing things. And the handle jiggles again. While they're discussing that it wasn't real, the handle jiggles again. And my dad pulls out his pistol and points it at the door, and the handle jiggles a third time while he's watching. He says, all right, you son of a bitch, I've got a gun. If you open that door, I'm going to fill you full of lead. And he's holding the door at gunpoint. And he waits, and he waits, and he waits. And about a minute later, after he's holding the gun there, freaked out. Mom's like behind him, like picking over his shoulder and shit. He's holding the gun there. The handle jiggles one last time, and the door goes very slowly, like in slow motion. The door like starts coming open, and here's fucking Gilligan with his whole goddamn mouth around the doorknob, hanging from one side of it, swinging in on the fucking door. The thunderstorm was coming, and even though it wasn't raining yet, he could hear the thunder. So he had to break himself in because my mom and dad left him in the backyard. Fucking crazy dog, dude.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so.
So yeah, your house is pretty tore up.
Oh Jesus. Oh my God. He tore my blinds up and everything.
Yeah. Should I let him out then?
Please let him out. He doodled everywhere too, didn't he?
I'm sure he did. Oh my God. This is awful. This is awful. I just cannot.
You want to hear another story? My dad shouldn't have carried. Let's finish this video and I'll tell you another story that some of you already heard.
I thought it was your dog, and I was worried about it being in your house. No, it's not my dog. I'm like,
He must have let himself in.
it's not my dog. That's what I'm saying. He's a dog that was in the neighborhood, and I was being nice by feeding him. Okay. That meant somebody must have let that dog into my house. That's what that is. Because there's no way. I wouldn't be surprised here. There is no way, because I locked my door before I left. Yes, if you could do me a favor, if you could let him back out. Yes. And if you could walk back out the garage and just shut the garage. He can't open that garage door. That's a fact. The garage door is closed. Yes, what I'm saying is if you can go back into the house and shut, when you let him back out, the door, if you can lock my back door and then go out my front and then go out the garage. You know what I'm saying? That way both doors will be locked and the garage will be there. What is your name? My name is Quentin. Thank you so much for what you've done. I just can't believe this has happened. I cannot believe it. My God. Yeah.
My God.
You can give me a call.
The dog's in there with fucking blinds over his head listening to this whole conversation like that son of a bitch. I spend one fucking night, one goddamn night.
If you'd like. Yes, let me get your number. Hold on. Do you want my phone number?
All right, let's see if there's an update, and then I'll tell you another story. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Video of what the dog did.
That's the bathroom. God damn, that's a piece of door trim. Hold on. That's a piece of fucking trim.
Well, this is the video of what the dog did to destroy my house. Now, I'm 100% sure, y'all.
God damn, the dog got in the liquor.
I'm 100%
Seagram 7, bro. 7 and 7.
sure, y'all, that the dog was not let in by
He doesn't seem house trained.
itself. There are no paw prints. There are no.
What the fuck? You had would you have the door handles dusted for fucking paw prints? What the I know that someone let the dog in. I don't see a single fucking paw print on the security pad and the alarm was disabled. Maybe you just had clean feet, bro.
You know, bite marks on the back door. The back door actually is intact. I made sure the door was locked before I left, so I'm thinking, how in the world could the
God damn, dude.
my house? Unfortunately,
God damn. The dog's never seen blinds before. He must have grew up in one of those trailers like fucking Trainwreck Travis lived in.
I was attacked. And I was attacked. Somebody really did. They came in my house and they let the dog in and the dog tore my house up.
Someone said, hear me out. The neighbor was mad that you left your dog outside while you were out of town. She put him in your house and was actively watching to see when you came home to take care of him. A week went by and she was shitting bricks that there was a dog alone for that long, at which point she came over to yell at you. Then we pick up the story with a ring cam.
You know?
Daryl Hinkle Construction. High testosterone.
You know? It's awful, man.
God damn, dude. It did fuck some shit up, didn't it?
Whole life. I cried so hard this morning.
Man, it's not that big a deal. Like, it's not like it totaled your home or some shit. Come on.
I cried.
It's not a work hard your whole life and you lose it all with one bad Doberman.
But the dog tore my house completely up. Unfreaking real. Unreal. I'm serious. When I say unreal, y'all.
God damn, it was running the vacuum at one point. That some bitch is plugged in.
Every last single part of my house is jacked. See that? They said he was in here for a week.
Motherfucker had mail coming. I don't know. It just said the dog.
Not one day. An entire week. Now I can do the cleanup. But these blinds are expensive. This whole set will cost me $2,000 to get redone. Do it on my floor. But he left me an air mattress to sleep on, surprisingly. So he probably was over that. But it could be worse.
The dog is trying to steal the TV. I'd check your catalytic converters. I bet he stole them motherfuckers too.
Carpet cleaner, so I can get that out.
I saw him with the Sawzall.
My sunroom, he probably peed in here, but I can get that out, Could be worse.
Oh yeah, we've covered that on the show before.
When you get busy, make sure you listen to the Holy Spirit. If they tell you somebody's going to let somebody in your house, or there's going to be some vandalism to your house, listen to them when they tell you, because they tell you the truth. They told me and I didn't listen. Welcome to my world.
You could probably finagle insurance around to cover some of this, probably. That's the dog.
Well, hello. It's Aries 1973. Yeah. Well, I'm here to explain the video regarding the dog that got into my house.
What's with the mask, bro?
Well, first of all, the lady who lived across the street was so gracious to come over and share there was a dog in my house, right? You saw the video. You saw the aftermath of what the dog did to my house. This actually happened to me 2 years ago. It happened in January of 2024. So I just wanted to explain some things. The first thing, number one, this was not coerced. It was not rehearsed. This is not a skit, okay? Second of all, the dog is a part of a group of dogs that are in my neighborhood that are homeless. There are up to 1 million dogs in the Houston, Texas area that are...
Oh, I thought he was going to say in his neighborhood.
And roaming all over the place. Every breed you can imagine, from King Corso to Pit Bull to...
They didn't look like extremely expensive blinds, but I know blinds do get expensive. They do be expensive. They do be doing that.
To mixed dogs, it's sad, okay? Dangerous. And in my county, they don't do anything about it. There is no humane society. Third of all, my son asked me to watch the dog outside and give him some food. I watched the dog, I gave him some food, I left. I had to go move my things from another state here. And by the time I got back, this is the mess I had to deal with. The dog did at least $500 to $700 worth of damage to my home.
Oh, goddamn, it was a brand new house, too.
It's all real. Me and the lady next door became...
He's just moving in.
The course of 2 years. And she even began to watch my little dog. So that's another thing. I had a dog in the state I was moving from, and I brought him here, and she watched my dog. Well, she helped me out a whole lot throughout that time frame, and I'll just tell you that I really appreciate her for everything she did. But unfortunately...
Because she felt guilty.
We had a pack of wild Rottweilers, pit bulls attack her, and she got bit 7 times by these dogs. It was absolutely awful. Her entire body was bleeding. She was in the hospital. This entire account is on the news in Houston. I believe it even went national news because we have so many dogs loose, and unfortunately, she became the unwanted victim of dogs, and she's a dog lover. The story got even wilder. After the dog left my house, to be quite honest, the dog ate my Viagra in my house. The Rottweiler went over across the street to her house and tried to fuck her dog. Yes, the dog tried to fuck her dog. He climbed all the way through her fence and tried to fuck her dog. Now, after she brought that t-shirt over to my house unknowingly, I thought it was kind of cute, right? Because I kept thinking about Trump and his mess. So I was like, you know what? I like your t-shirt, so I'm going to change up a few things. I'm going to make me a few t-shirts and sweaters that says, fuck you, you fucking Trump, you see? And that's how we get to this message of fucking up Donald Trump. Finally, I want to share that after the dog left my house, something strange started happening. I felt entities in my house. I said, oh my God, I believe this dog was a Cujo dog. A Rottweiler was full of what? An angel or a demon? And it gets even better if you look at my other videos, because you'll see exactly who that dog was. Thank you so much for watching to my explanation video for the Rottweiler who got in my house, because now I'm so humbled to know that God uses animals to humble us. In Jesus' name, amen.
I super lost interest now. What the fuck?
Well, hello. It's Aries 1973. Ooh. So
I'm done. I'm done. But there wasn't a... Okay, here's another story. So I'm a big fan of Glocks. They're simple, reliable, blah, blah, blah. I don't know anything about the new Glocks where they supposedly made them switch proof, but it was like 2 days later they had a new switch for the new Glocks. But I like Gen 3 Glocks. That's my wheelhouse. I had an extra Glock, a Glock 17. And it was really nice. It was custom stipple job. It had a grip chop. It had really good sights on it, XS big dot sights. It had a plate where I had a ruggerized, an RMR on it, a red dot. But I'd plated it off because I put it on my 19. Anyways, I had a Glock 17. It holds 17 rounds. I switched to a Glock 19. Okay, so I moved my red dot sight on it. I kept some of my 17 mags, and I had this extra 17 that I kept in the house, but I really didn't need it. And at the time, my dad was looking for a pistol for his house, right? He had a pistol he didn't like, blah, 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 and I had this 17. And he called me and said, hey, I want to buy that pistol you got. You're not carrying it anymore? And I said, no, I don't carry it anymore. And he said, I want it. And I said, okay. And he said, would you make me a good deal on it? I said, sure. I'll make you a good deal on it. I wasn't going to sell it anyways, right? I'll make you a good deal on it. So at the time, my dad's pistol was a 380. And I said, you'll have to get some ammo. These are 9mm. Okay. And my carry ammo that I carry every day in my pistol is very specific. mostly because I've been in a pistol shootout. And if you're carrying hollow points, they do not penetrate things that sometimes you might need to penetrate, like a car door, right? The hollow points expand. They don't get penetration like you want. So when I carry every day, I carry magazines that are specific, very specific to me, that is my carry ammo, my hollow points, then full metal jacket, then a hollow point, then a full metal jacket, then a hollow point, then a full metal jacket, then a hollow point, alternating, right? The hollow points, because they do the most damage in body tissue when I need to stop somebody, okay? The full metal jacket, because hell, I might need to shoot through a car door or a fridge door or some type of obstruction, a cinder block wall or brick or something, and I want that power to go through something, okay? The reason that's not important, you think that's not important, it is important. So my carry ammo, when I was going to sell my dad this gun, I told him, you need to get you some 9mm ammo, but here's what I'll do. I'll leave, I'm going from a gun that holds 17 to a gun that holds 15, so at least you'll have 2 rounds in there. I'll leave them in the magazine. He said, perfect. Until I get some ammo, at least I got 2 rounds in there. So I went through the magazine and switched them from the 17 to the 19. So there was 1 hollow point and 1 full metal jacket round in the magazine when I gave it to my dad. I gave it to my dad. He looked it over. Magazine wasn't in it. It was clear. He ran it back and forth. Said, okay, I'll take it, blah, blah, blah. I'll pay you later. I said, no problem, whenever. He put the magazine back in it, put it back in the Glock case, and closed it up. Several years later, my mom had the worst habit of losing shit. Like, she would get on a cleaning spree, pick stuff up, move it, organize it, blah, 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 and not have any idea that she touched it. The first thing she says, I've never seen it. I didn't see nothing like that. She lost my birth certificate almost as many times as Mariah's lost my birth certificate, okay? It was a bad, bad habit of hers where she would just get in this mood, thinking about something else, cleaning. She cleaned the house every day. She'd pick it up, move it somewhere, and swear up and down to you she never fucking saw it. So a few years later, my dad was sitting around thinking about that pistol. I think I had mentioned something to him on the phone about it, and he was thinking about it or whatever. And he's like, yeah, where did that pistol go? And he got on to my mom about it. And he's like, I had it on the bed in the case, or on the nightstand in the case. I'm sure you moved it. And she's like, nope, I didn't move it. I've never seen it. I never touched it. Then once you kind of prove that she had to move it, she'll say this. I didn't lose it. I put it up somewhere and I can't remember where. That was her second go-to. Like, Mom, I know you moved this while you were I didn't lose it. Don't say I lost it. I put it somewhere and I can't remember where. That was her second favorite saying. So my dad finally got onto her a little bit. It's like, look, it's an expensive gun, and if we get on hard times, I can sell it. It's like basically like investing in something. It'll always be worth $500 or something. So he gets onto her a little bit. She gets mad. So when she gets mad, she'll go into a fit and sling open every cabinet and blah, 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 and start looking for it. So he said, no, don't worry about it. She's like, no, you're going to accuse me of losing it. I'll go find it. I just put it up somewhere. I can't remember where it was. So she goes into the closet, gets on her stepladder. In her closet in her bedroom, there's like a couple of shelves where she keeps knickknacks and junk and blah, blah, blah. So she goes up there. She's on a stepladder, and she starts slinging stuff around and slamming shit. So Dad comes in there trying to talk her out of it, and she's like, bam, you don't have to look for it right now, blah, 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 whatever. I wasn't there, but I'm doing all this from the story. Anyways, you don't have to do all that. It's fine. We'll find it later. I'm sure we're running. Nope, I'll get it. You just stand right there. Just wait. I know exactly what I was doing when I moved it. It's probably right over here. But needless to say, she finds it. Okay? Eventually she finds it. She said, I knew it. I knew I put it somewhere. I knew it. And you're going to blame me for losing a pistol. And she throws the case on the bed. Okay? The pistol case. She tosses it to the bed. She's still on the ladder. Okay? The case lands on the bed, and she's like, I guess I'll put all this stuff back up now. So she's slinging shit back in the closet and trying to stack it back up and blah, 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 whatever. Dad says, okay, well, thanks. And he opens the pistol case. She's on the ladder in the closet with his back to him. He's standing in front of the bed, opening pistol case. He pulls the pistol out, makes sure it hasn't, got rusty or blah, 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 needs to be oiled or whatever. And he's looking at it, and he's flipping it back and forth. He's looking at it. The magazine's in the gun. Now, remember, there's 2 rounds in that magazine, but in his head, he's thinking, well, I never went and bought 9mm rounds anyways. So for some reason, he knows better. He's looking at it, looking down the sight and aiming back and forth. He goes and pulls the slide back and lets it go. And he's thinking, that's weird. In his head, he's thinking, that's weird. The slide should have stayed at the back, and it didn't. Oh, well. So he's like twisted around. He's using the XS big dot sights. He's pointing down at the bed, and boom, he pulls the trigger. Now, their apartment was really small. It was a one-bedroom. It just had one room, and then the kitchen and living room and dining room were all like one little room too. Little two-room apartment. Boom, he pulls the trigger straight into the fucking bed. And if you ever fired a pistol in an enclosed area, especially a little brick apartment where all the sound echoes back, he pulls the trigger, boom, shoots to the bed. Smoke goes up. My mom is holding a box of Christmas ornaments over her head on the ladder. Throws the ornaments, goes falling onto the ground, thinking she's been shot or something, the house exploded, whatever. So she's rolling back and forth. When he fired the rounds, he always wore like these polo collared shirts. He always wore these even when he was like in gym shorts, he still had one of his old like 3-button polo shirt on with collars. Boom, it goes off. Smoke everywhere. Mom's falling off the bed. The cartridge that ejects, because it ejects around and loads another one, right? The cartridge that ejects goes up in the air, falls back, and goes down his shirt. And if you've never been hit by hot brass, it fucking hurts, dude. So he was going, he said they can't hear each other. Like if you've ever fired in a car, it's about like that, right? All you hear is like this whining and you can barely hear things. So he said, oh shit, it's hot. And he's trying to get it out of his shirt. He's grabbing at his shirt, pulling stuff, screaming, it's hot. My mom laying on the floor covered in Christmas ornaments in the middle of July that she got out of the closet, thinks he says, I'm shot. So she goes into full fucking panic mode, starts screaming, crying, rolling back and forth on the floor. And he's beating his shirt, screaming, it's hot. I just so happened to pull up in the driveway when the round went off. Boom, I hear a gunshot. So I come running through the fucking, ripped the fucking door, broke a piece of glass in the door. I slammed it open so hard. And here's my dad with his eyes about this big around, waving a fucking gun around, screaming, it's hot. And my mom's rolling back and forth with her hands over her eyes, covered in tinsel and Christmas ornaments, screaming, oh God, he's shot. It probably took me a half hour to convince them that nobody had been shot and get them calmed down enough to where they could hear me and they could talk to him. Smoke alarms going off, fucking strobe light attached to the smoke alarm. It's fucking blare. They're fucking rolling around on the ground. They were a mess, dude. Come to think of it, maybe my dad shouldn't have carried all the time. I don't know. It was a good story. It made for a good story, though. All right, what else we got? Have you guys seen the degradation of Trump's signature? Tell me what a name he signs right here.
Thanks to C-SPAN, we now have a different view of that signature of Donald Trump's from yesterday. And man, it is worse than I even expected from afar. So here is the video for you.
All right, that's a D. And then there's some other things. Okay.
So I probably won't hold this up.
What name did he just sign there?
I even expected from afar. So here is the video for you.
TRUMMMMMMP. Won't hold this up.
TRUMMMMMMMMMMMMMP.
And I think holding up one little paper.
Now, I had a follower who's an OT who reached out to me and gave me even more information than I even knew, because this like fine motor handwriting would be an occupational therapist specialty, and she's totally fine with me sharing. So I'd love to share some of the thoughts plus some of the extra things that I noticed. So first of all, Donald Trump's signature, she said, between like 2016 and 2020 took about 7.5 to 8.5 seconds. This signature took 11 seconds. So just that increased time, which is probably,
that's 1 second per letter.
Increased letters of all the MMMMMMMs was really problematic. Something I didn't necessarily notice, but she did, was that the paper was set at his midline. So his midline being here, and it was set to the side that he was going to sign. So his eyes are going one way, his hand is on the same side of the body, the pen is on the same side of the body, and it doesn't require any crossing the midline, which I'll get to in a second. Previously, though, if you look, you can see that the paper was actually set in the middle of his body. So the paper itself would cross the midline. Like basically the middle of the paper would be in the middle of, like right in the midline. And so that would require him to have to cross the midline to sign the paper, and he no longer does that.
The older you get, the harder it is to do midline stuff.
So what is crossing the midline? Crossing the midline is basically like if I'm going to have this hand and I'm going to tap. So my left hand taps my right shoulder, I'm crossing the midline. So
AFib.
Body, am I crossing? As you get older, there are more difficulties with crossing midline, but even more so when there is any type of neurological issue going on. And so Trump's inability to cross the midline.
It's wild. It's wild what Congress is doing right now. It's wild. Like, as many times as they've spent for years, especially the Republicans, but the Democrats too, but most of the Republicans, for years and years and years and years and years and years, talking about what's their power and what's the president's power, and the president will not take this away from us. We may agree with him, we may disagree with him, but he will not infringe on what is assigned to us by Congress, and then they just let him do whatever the fuck he wants. They're like, yeah, I guess he can.
Or avoidance of crossing the midline is a big problem. Crossing the midline is a skill that supports like frontal networks in your brain, everything going on in the frontal part of your brain and in the posterior portion of your brain. And it's also about like white matter, just like how healthy your white matter is. So all those networks are not functioning appropriately. And so he is now basically probably unknowingly not crossing the midline. There is more to this video. I cannot believe I'm about to make 4 videos.
Somebody says this is signature I want to see. Donald Trump flatline.
On Donald Trump's handwriting, but here we are. This is where we are. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks to C-SPAN, we now have a different view of that.
It's definitely degrading at some point. Like TRUMM. It's always got too many humps for a cursive TRUMP, but it's degrading, and it looks like he's getting lost in it at points.
Someone points a weapon at me. First thing I'm going to do, turn my back.
Just in case you guys get confronted with ICE, this is the go-to move from Master Ken. Okay.
Someone points a weapon at me. First thing I'm going to do, turn my back. Facing him, he's got a lot of targets. Turning away, he's confused. Where am I going to shoot this guy? I'm going to do a very basic ukemi roll. As I do, my foot will make contact with the gun, knocking it out of his hand, like so.
Watch him lower the gun.
Now I have the advantage, okay? I can roll to that gun faster than he can run to it. So in order to acquire it, I do another ukemi, like so. Now I have the weapon, I do one final ukemi, striking him with the weapon, like so. When he catches it, I can now move to my next disarm.
When he catches it, I can move my next disarm.
A lot of people don't know this, but the jaw is far more powerful than the hands, okay? So I don't want to grab the weapon with my hands.
Okay. Use your jaw muscles.
I can throw him from here using only my jaw, like so.
Hip toss.
Now I move to my third and final disarm. I'm going to do a move called the steamroller. I become the steamroller.
Okay. He's crawling over to him. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Someone points a weapon at me. First thing I'm going to...
Honestly, he ate and left no crumbs, okay? What about Brantley Gilbert getting a little too big for his britches over here? Does anybody even know who the fuck that is? Brantley Gilbert. The fuck?
This message is for Brantley Gilbert, who's apparently a real person's name and not a background character in an early season of Boy Meets World that I forgot about. You know that you're not playing the Super Bowl halftime show? I think you think that you're playing the Super Bowl halftime show. So you posted this big long letter about...
Look at this shit. About how he's playing the Super Bowl halftime show.
Why you're playing the Super Bowl halftime show? Write this stoplight essay.
For those asking, who is Brantley Gilbert and why is he playing this event? I'm a songwriter who grew up and still lives in Jackson County, Georgia, whose goal in the music business was to sell out the local theater a few miles from my house and somehow make a living writing songs. I'm a recovering addict with the history of all the bad choices that come with it. I'm not proud of those choices, but I am proud of the choice I've made to live in another direction. I share my story through my music in hopes that I may help and inspire others in their darkest hour. I'm a Christian and I love our country despite its flaws. I've dedicated part of my life to the men and women who fight for it and the families of those who gave their life for it. Above all, I'm a proud husband and father of 3. We're celebrating 250 years as a country, and it's been more than 20 years since a country artist has been asked to play the Super Bowl halftime show. I respect that some people may see this differently, but I'm not playing this show to be divisive. I was offered an opportunity and imagined my kids watching their daddy perform the halftime show during the biggest game in America. You're not playing the halftime show, dude.
Like you're a kid in 2nd grade learning how to write for the first time. And in this paragraph, you say, we're celebrating 250 years as a country, and just complete non sequitur. And it's been more than 20 years since a country artist has been asked to play the Super Bowl halftime show, which is just not true because Beyonce was the headline.
Ooh, that hurts the country guys. That Beyonce won Country Album of the Year
in 2013 and was also a guest in 2016. And as you'll remember, she's won the Grammy for Best Country Album, Best Country Duo Group Performance, and Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter.
Damn.
What you meant to say is that a white country performer hasn't performed since Shania Twain in 2003. You end the letter by saying, I believe united we stand, divided we fall, and my prayer for our...
The way I treat people is the conditional based on the way what our differences may be. Based on what our differences may be. Isn't conditional. I believe united we stand, divided we fall, and my prayer for our country is that we stand united. Thank you to my road family and all the fans who have stood beside me. Looking forward to hitting the stage this Sunday and giving the folks a hell of a show. Like, don't write this when you're at the second-rate fucking safe space for conservative fucking halftime show. Like, this is something you write when you play the actual halftime show.
Country is that we stand united, but you are literally performing at a halftime show that you can't actually watch on regular TV that was created because a dead Nazis racist organization thinks that Puerto Rico is not part of the United States. Being aired on something called the Trinity Broadcasting Network, which sounds like a money laundering front for a mega
TBN.
I do just want to give 2
for a mega church pastor.
Shout outs to some of the best reads that I've seen on this situation. Designing Dawn here said that the people who need their own halftime show are the same people who needed their own water fountains. But the real MVP.
Yes, if you want to support the show, do that. The link there. You can use any of these different links to click on. But leave a message. I like to thank people if they donate to the show. That's how I pay to keep the show going. If it's something you enjoy, if it's not, no big deal. Just watch it for free.
MVP of the Brantley Gilbert comment section is Dinah Miller, who said, "Sweetie, you play in FIFA Peace Prize halftime show,"
You play in the FIFA Peace Prize halftime show. Damn.
For about 27 solid minutes. Brantley, do you know that you are not playing at the Super Bowl halftime show? Like, do you know that? Playing at the Super Bowl halftime show in the same way that those Christian moms who didn't want their kids attending prom where they might sexy dance made their own prom. Like, you know that that's not prom, right? Like prom is prom and what you're doing is just theater. Racist theater. Get back to
it hurts.
This message is for Brantley Gilbert.
Yeah, it hurts, but the truth is the truth, I guess. I wonder how much this guy gets paid to be the black conservative guy on TikTok. There's no way he really believes this, right?
The White House is now telling CNN's Elena Trine that a staffer at the White House made the post. The post was made at 11:30 last night. Do you really believe a White House staffer made it?
Yes, I do. That is by far the most likely outcome.
Really, Jeff? That's the most likely outcome, huh?
I hope you don't have any money on the Super Bowl, Jeff, because you are not very good at assessing the most likely outcome. So let me get this straight, Jeff. Our president, your favorite guy, our vindictive, tiny, little boy, insecure president, is up all hours of the night, every single night, till 3 in the morning, posting and reposting the most horrendous shit any of us have ever seen in our life. Whether he's fantasizing about executing every Democrat who's ever been mean to him, or saying that Joe Biden is a clone, that's how embarrassing your...
I saw somebody say that the very first song of the halftime show should be with Bruce Springsteen and Bad Bunny, and it should be Born in the USA in English and Spanish.
Party is, Jeff, by the way. The leader of your party thinks that Joe Biden is a clone. And he does this every single night, Jeff. He is literally online every night, embarrassing this country to the entire planet. And yet...
Trump's already admitted it was him that picked the video, that wanted to post the video, but he has an assistant that watches the end of videos to make sure there's no racist stuff in them, and they failed.
One particular instance, you're telling us that a staffer grabbed his phone at 11:30 on a Friday and posted this, huh? Okay, Jeff, if you guys are going to run with this dog ate my homework excuse, then we should have some accountability, right, Jeff? Because this was a pretty big mistake to have made. So the staffer should probably be fired, right, Jeff? So who is this staffer? Where can we find him? Or does he live in the North Pole? Do I need to run into the bathroom and whisper Bloody Mary into the mirror 3 times for the staffer to appear in front of me, Jeff? You know, Jeff, I hope you got a big-ass check when you traded in your soul to do this job. Because you know what your job is, Jeff? Is every single time Trump says something horrifically racist, which is pretty often, his fans flock to your page so that you can make them feel better about your racist Republican Party. And that's what it is, Jeff. Whether you guys are accusing Haitians of eating everyone's pets, or Obama's from Kenya, his wife is a man, Somali people are garbage, you have a racist Republican Party. And let me tell you something, Jeff. You help keep it alive by pretending it doesn't exist. Just so you know. Anyway, Jeff, please let us know if you guys find that imaginary magical staffer who stole all the cookies from the cookie jar, because we would like to know who it is, okay? So let us know when you can. All right. Okay, good luck.
The White House is now telling...
I want to describe a package delivery for you, okay? I have a package that is coming to me in Irwin, Tennessee. I live in the northeast corner of Tennessee, near Western North Carolina, kind of close to Asheville. Like, I live on the Tennessee, North Carolina line, the border. Okay? A package leaves a shipper in Millville, New Jersey. Okay? Millville, New Jersey. It travels from Millville to Millville, UPS, or USPS. Then it goes to Philadelphia, USPS, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Then it goes to San Antonio, Texas, regional facility. Then it goes again to San Antonio, Texas, regional facility. Then it goes to Dallas-Fort Worth distribution facility. Then it goes back to San Antonio, Texas, regional facility. Then it goes back to Pennsylvania. Then it goes back to San Antonio. From San Antonio, it goes to Dallas, Fort Worth, and then back to San Antonio. From San Antonio, it goes to Atlanta. From Atlanta, it goes to Kentucky. From Kentucky, it goes to Atlanta. From Atlanta, it goes to Charlotte. And from Charlotte, it goes to Gastonia, North Carolina. And from Gastonia, North Carolina, it goes to Johnson City, Tennessee, about 10 miles north of my location. It shipped out on January 25th and was supposed to be here on the 28th. The fuck is wrong with USPS? They're struggling over there, bro. Like Bert's struggling. Like Bort. You think Bort's my postman? Hope not. While we're on the topic of halftime shows and fucking performers and Billy Joel, never disappoints.
And this goes out to all the ICE agents out there, wherever you are. Quit your shitty ass job. Quit that shitty job you have. Because when this
There's a, I'll tell you after Billy Joe.
is over, and it will be over at some point in time,
Okay. Good job, Billy Joe. I agree. Green Day. Okay. They used to allow us to process our mail at a local center in Johnson City, Tennessee. So all the mail from like Johnson City, Irwin, Kingsport, Bristol, all that mail, if I mailed something to you across the street, the furthest it went was to Johnson City to get processed. It could process in our own post office. It required 2 more employees. It could process in our own post office and then go directly to you. So it went from my town to my town's post office to you that lives in my town. Now, every piece of mail that's sent in the Tri-Cities, which is a pretty big area if you look it up, the Tri-Cities, goes to your local post office where it is processed by 1 employee incoming, then goes on a truck to goddamn Knoxville, Tennessee, 2.5 hours away to the processing facility there. Then it's shipped back to our local post offices and then distributed out. So every bill, every check, every bank statement, everything, if it originates in this area, going to this area, it does at least 5 miles of interstate travel before it comes back. What the fuck? My warrant officer is Filipino, great dude. Well, I saw a video on Twitter of a Filipino commando CWO get delivered a cup of coffee during combat. Dude looks exactly like my warrant officer, so I printed his picture and hung it in his cubicle, and everyone kept coming by asking him why he had a photo of himself in a combat gear. That's funny. That is funny. He kept taking it down, but I kept putting it back up. Now he just has to leave it hanging there. That's good. Never give in. Never give in. Always stand up. I don't know why they changed the route for our local shit, but it doesn't make any sense, dude. You're telling me if I mail a letter across the street, it's going to have 5 hours of interstate traffic to get processed? Like, I'm sure they come up with some type of, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure they had some type of deal where they're like, we can save 0.3 cents per 1,000 tons of mail delivered. It just doesn't make sense, though, does it? We used to have mail that would turn around in 2 or 3 days. Now it's at least fucking 10 days. By the time it gets sorted and processed and shipped and back, and local mail, I don't know. It isn't local mail anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So, do you have any questions?
I think we already watched this. This was Trump admitting about the post, right?
The social media post that you took down earlier today, the White House says that a staffer sent it. Who sent it, and are you going to fire them?
No, I looked at it, I saw it, and I just looked at the first part. It was about voter fraud in someplace, Georgia. There was a lot of voter fraud, 2020 voter fraud, and I didn't see the whole thing. I guess toward the end of it, there was some kind of a picture that people don't like. I wouldn't like it either, but I didn't see it. I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is. Then I gave it to the people. Generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't. And they posted it, and we took it down, and we took it.
Which is wild because we've seen Trump's post some. If this claim were true, I don't think it is. I think they've tried to implement this. He's never agreed to it, and they won't just make him do it. So this is just his fucking, oh, somebody didn't do their job, right? But think of the craziest things we've seen Trump post besides this video. Like some wild shit about Joe Biden being a clone and Jim Carrey playing him and QAnon and this, that. And you're telling me that's after you send it to a guy and the guy signs off on posting it? Bullshit. Bullshit. There is nobody in the world to be like, oh yeah, that's a fucking fire video. Post that one about all the Joe Biden clones that he was actually executed in Gitmo in 2018, and now he has 30 clones on the payroll. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah, but that was a voter fraud that nobody talks about. They don't like to talk about that post. We took it down as soon as we found out about it.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I look at a lot of thousands of things.
I look at thousands of things. I may look at more things than anybody looks at things right now, especially on this beautiful plane. How many things have you looked at on this plane? Did you see that thing over there? I looked at that thing. I bet you haven't even seen it yet. You're a horrible thing watcher.
I looked at the beginning of it. It was fine. And they had that one post, and I guess it was a takeoff. By the way, a lot of people covered, if you look at where it came from, I guess it was a takeoff on The Lion King. And certainly it was a very strong post in terms of voter fraud. Nobody knew that was at the end. If they would have.
Look at these cabinets. They're overhead cabinets. There's things in there. You probably haven't even looked at those things.
They would have seen it, and probably they would have had the sense to take it down. But that was a takeoff of the Lion King, and a lot of people were covered on different in different positions. So.
One thing, two thing, racist thing, blue thing. That's what I always say.
Tim Scott, he was great. Tim is a great guy. He understood that 100%. Do you have any questions, John?
The social media post that you took down earlier today, the White House says that a staffer sent it. Who sent it, and are you going to fire him?
No, I looked at it. I saw it, and I just looked at the first part. It was about voter fraud.
This guy is in charge of the most powerful country in the world. And the people that worship him, their vote counts the exact same as yours. How do we re-educate? How do we purge? How do we get rid of this? Like, it's so fucking bad, dude. I don't even care if you give me a fucking Republican president. A normal goddamn Republican president. That's like, oh no, we can't do that. That's like violating the Constitution and shit. That's what we stand for. Like a pre-Trump. Give me fucking, I don't even want to name names. Give me a Republican, dude. A normal goddamn Republican. Just a normal fucking Republican. Just go back to normalcy. Thank you guys for joining us. Consider supporting the show. That's how I pay the bills around here. We greatly appreciate it. Shout out to Ollie. It was his birthday. My birthday's coming up. My dad's birthday's coming up, which is a really sad day for me. But they're back to back. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Support the show if you want to. If you don't, that's cool. It's free to watch. I just appreciate the new people hanging out and watching. So we'll continue to build it up, hopefully. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you about the next one tomorrow, probably. I go live about every night if you want to come hang out, talk some shit with me before my head explodes. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believers? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is arms and alcohol. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking, he was doing so well. It's all over, hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They be working copy on cocks that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reason with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts. Here we go, I think
Good night, guys.